And now, boys and girls, the Sharks take 3 of 8 points this week. Oh, Lord almighty. They destroyed Talbot's stat line during the first regulation win at home this season. They make history in Seattle again, not in a good way. Oh, Lord, they finally play in the reverse retro jersey, so I guess we can stop hearing about that. Someone may have said Vancouver tonight in a overtime loss. And we have some giveaways. Let's go. Oi, oi, oi! Show 173. Hey now, we are taking over After Dark here, so we welcome you back to the unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast that is the Pucknologist here on Tealtown, USA. This time around, we got 4 games to get into. We have a 49ers shirsey winner to announce. We're going to give away another lunchbox, but there is so much more we're going to talk about. But first, if you're new to the podcast, remember, subscribe, follow us on social media. You can help support the content we deliver and keep us commercial-free using the Super Chat option during the live shows, or you can use Venmo. Find us at Tealtown, USA. Remember, those donations keep the casts commercial-free so we don't have to bore you with, I don't know, talking about shaving your nethers or something. I'd rather not.
What about discounts on postage stamps?
Nope. Don't want to talk about that either.
Custom tailored suits?
Nope.
Meal prep?
Nope.
Alrighty.
Are we done? Okay.
Hey, we just got to cover all the bases.
Wrong sport. If you're not with us live on YouTube, make sure to add your take in the comments section of this video. If you're listening to the podcast on your favorite app, hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review if possible, especially if you're on iTunes. Love those reviews and those 5 stars. We really appreciate it. And just before we get going, I just want to say this. Was at the game on Friday night. Shout out to Michael Morales rocking a shirt that had the Tealtown USA Puck logo and a QR code that you could literally scan dude's shirt and it would send that person to our content. That is just way cool. Had Brody on there too. I'm not going to hold that against him, but dude, solid. All right. So if you're new here, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, if you have more housekeeping to get into, we can wait. But I was wondering if maybe you wanted to start the show talking about the trade that had transpired on Friday.
Did I miss a memo? A post-it, if you will?
I think you know what I'm nudging at here.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. My bad. I said Michael Morales. I meant Michael Molasses in the chat. See you, buddy. All right, go ahead, Jerkman.
There was, as I said, there was a trade on Friday. Actually, coincidentally, it happened during the Sharks game. Actually, before the Sharks game. A trading of goods, if you will. I think you know what I'm referring to.
We might.
Somebody said I have a dollar store microphone.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know. You sound fine to me, man.
I sound good. I think Logan is just trolling.
Shock.
So yeah, there was a big trade, huge trade.
It's huge.
There were some pucks exchanged for some pins, and I think it was a good deal for both sides. I don't know about you. I'm very happy with my end of it.
Absolutely happy with mine. Pucks and pins, baby.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. This is your weekly wrap-up of Sharks hockey, if you're unfamiliar. We got 4 games this week. The Sharks went 1-2-1 during those 4 games, of course, against the Senators, Kraken, Kings, and Canucks. As it stands right now, the Sharks are 24 games into the season. Just, little under a third, but they are 7-13-4 with 18 points. Currently 7th in the pack div, and they have dropped, precipitously. Last I looked, 31 of 32 when it comes to points percentage, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Let me let you know. But the way that we rock things here, when the Pucknologists take over After Dark, we start with the game you just watched, which was a 4-3 loss in overtime to the Vancouver Canucks. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Kakinen starts this one as Reimer is out yet again after playing versus LA, but he missed the game in Seattle. I don't know what is going on. I feel so bad for Aaron Dell, dude. It's like, which locker room do I go to today? I mean, seriously.
I mean, that's the job. That's the job that he signs up for, though.
Sure. Special teams helped a little bit. I mean, the Sharks 1-for-1 on the power play. I mean, you can't do better than 100%. However, if you watch the game and listen to Randy and Drew, there was definitely a couple times where they were calling out like, "How the hell did that happen?" And it was on both sides. There was a couple times where it's like right in front of the official, no call, okay. And you know what, dude? I don't know about you. I prefer it that way. Like, give me a game that doesn't have, like, I'll take no calls versus like every ticky-tack thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's obviously you want, especially a team like the Sharks that struggle at 5 versus 5, you want every chance you can get at the power play. But at the same time, like if you're calling everything left, right, and center, eventually it slows down the pace of the game. And I think you get a game. There was one game we covered last week where it was just like boring as hell. Actually, makes me think of last night. Last night was actually boring as hell. Despite, Friday night.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the hell did you do last night?
Friday
Didn't you
night
fly
was
home?
Friday night was boring as hell, despite the score. And it's just like you said, it jams up the pace of the game. When you're calling every single penalty. So kind of nice to see that wasn't the case tonight.
Absolutely. Day before this one, Ferraro went on the IR with a lower body injury. Buddy Shangpeng is saying that it is his sources. Many people are saying that is a foot injury. So Ferraro's placement on the IR is going to be retroactive to the loss against LA, which means Mario will miss at least a week of action. Harrington got called up. If we see him, I'm going to have to firebomb something. Dell was also recalled, of course, with Reimer out with also lower body injury. This was, this was an odd game tonight. I mean, Canucks, they'd rolled Vegas the night before. I mean, scored 3 power play goals against Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Stanley Cup champs a couple days before that. So they'd won 4 of their last 5. Canucks came in on a roll, and I'll tell you, when they got that first goal that Burrows had, and tell me that wasn't a fluke. I mean, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Burrows, that one was like the one fluky, or the one goal that wasn't a fluke. It was one that Kakinen likely should have had on just the 6 shot on goal for Vancouver, but that made it 1-0. And I got to tell you, at that point, I was just like, oh, fuck, here we go, man. It's going to be one of those.
Yeah, it felt, again, it just felt like the start was just so unfortunate. Yeah, it was just it gave me sort of that feeling of like, when is it going to stop, right? I mean, I think even
dude, I think half the guys on each side could have switched jerseys and nobody would have known.
Right. Well, and even like you go back to the previous years, right? Like the Sharks were bad and they had long stretches of being bad, but they also had stretches here and there of being good. And I feel like this year those stretches have been extremely few and far between. And so to see the way tonight's game started, it was just like, oh my God, like, are the Sharks ever going to win again? Right. I mean, I know they won on Monday against Ottawa, but I don't know. It just feels like every single night they're playing from behind to begin.
Well, dude, like they lost 5 in a row, then they won 3 in a row, then coming into the night had lost 4 of their last 5. So
right,
but during that stretch, it's like, okay, you beat a crappy team like Ottawa, but you beat a really good team like Vegas. But to be fair, everybody's beating Vegas lately in this last week. Dude, I don't know what's going on there. Bozasaurus coming in hot on the chat. Remember, if you donate, you get right in. You hit that VIP. Fact, cranberry sauce should be banned in Thanksgiving. Sauce, sure. Juice always plays.
I could support that. You can call me, I'm yes guy for that. I'll support that.
All right. So Burrows opens the scoring, as I said, probably one Kakinen should have had. And then Cunnin with, I don't even know what the hell this was. I will watch hockey from now until the day I die. I might not see another goal like this one. Hold up, everybody.
You gotta have the Duke. Bonino, and now Cunnin, and he didn't get all of it. It was bouncing when it reached him. Vlasic over to Benning. Into the high slot. Bonino stabs at it and scores! Nick Bonino with his first goal of the year. Or did Cunnin get it? I think it's Luke Cunnins.
But look at the work. You've got Noah Gregor in front. You've got Nick Bonino in the slot. And then in the higher slot, there's layers. There's 1, 2, 3 layers there. And this popping up. Gregor's looking for it. Demko's looking for it. Look behind the goal line. Look in the net because that's where it ended up.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
Get the hell out of here with this.
I would like to point out, for the record, if you watch that replay, specifically the replay that's behind the net, Luke Cunnin is he's staring at the net, presumably watching the puck, and that almost like convinces me even more that that's how they drew it up.
To me, I look at that and I'm just going, "Are you kidding?" That's like the golfer who like shanks one. It just takes a fortuitous bounce off a tree and ends up on the green.
Right.
Like, give me a break. And even Jonathan Becker, president of the Sharks, says, do we call the infield fly on that one? Is that the rule?
Seems fair to me.
So, I mean, it ties the game at 1-1, and you're going, okay, this might be one of the dumbest games I've seen this season. to be
There's
fair.
always one. There's always one.
Dude. So,
last year I was at that game, but there is always one.
I was going to say, and I also wanted to mention, I want to say this now.
Say it.
Before I forget. Friday night, the Sharks did not receive the jerk bump.
They did not. It was, well, there were some things at play,
extenuating circumstances.
I don't want to place any blame, but there was concern that I had maybe fractured my big toe, so there was some concern. There was some controversy that had to be addressed, but everything's fine. It's all good.
All right. So this game again was really weird. Like, the Sharks owned the circle in the first period. They got completely owned in the second period. Just really weird. And then the power play. Finally, the Sharks get a power play. We weren't sure if it was going to happen, but real fast, maybe 7-8 seconds off the faceoff, Couture from Karlsson and Barabanov, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. But at least you're going, hey, they have a lead. They did it on the power play. Like, I have hope. And that hope would be extinguished about 70 seconds later.
Yeah.
And what's this cat's name? Ilya Mikheyev. So Mikheyev, he gets a fortuitous bounce. I mean, let me let you know. And then Pettersson gets a good bounce, taps it in. I mean, just when I saw that, which again happened 2 minutes after that. So you were all juiced after Logan gets the power play. And 2 minutes later, 3.5 minutes later, they're back down a goal. And you're like, okay. And if there's one person who can save us, it's Timo. No, it's Tomas. No, it's Luke Cunnin again. Has he ever had a 2-goal game in his life? In the NHL?
You know what? I don't want to flame the guy, but I was as shocked as you are when I saw that he had gotten the second one. I mean,
it was very much who?
Well, even the players, like even the worst player, everybody's going to get a goal at some point, right? But, I had like half an eye on the TV, right? And I hear Luke Cunnin, and I'm like, what? and you know what? Sure enough, he had 2 goals, and you know what? Like, good for him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping that this is kind of maybe, a very good like confidence game for him, and the dam just bursts, right?
Sure. Puck guy saying it was Cunnin's 5th multi-goal game. I don't believe it, but sure. I'll buy your bullshit. It was a really good night if you wanted to get an assist and your last name started with a B for the Sharks. Bonino, 2 assists. Benning had an assist. I mean, are you kidding me? Barabanov with an assist.
Can we really quick, doesn't have anything to do with what you just said, but can we address something in the chat? There's a lot of things being said about how Kunnen's second goal was all Erik Karlsson.
It was a great pass.
Oh, absolutely beautiful pass, 100%.
I mean, 5-hole. I'm sorry, 5-hole backdoor, dude.
Like, the goal doesn't happen without Erik Karlsson's pass. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kunnen scored the goal. Like, he shot it. It went in. Like, to just say, oh, that's all Erik Karlsson, Kunnen didn't do anything. Like, he literally shot the puck. Like,
is that how that works?
Just saying.
It's not like the Erik Karlsson goal against Detroit, right? Where he like literally put it in off the guy's ass.
No, exactly. Like, there was a wind up and a shot.
A little bit of effort.
With Luke Kunnen. Yeah, there was some skill was utilized in that moment.
Oh, I like Alden coming in on the chat going, Bonino, Kunnen. I like that. Back to the faceoffs, dude. The Sharks answered big time. 14-5 in the circle for the third. So at least they were trying to get some possession, because that was the one thing early on in the first period. I was like, God damn, the Sharks cannot get any time in the offensive zone. And when they do, it seems to be one and done. Some silly turnovers that just, and then I remember at one point early in the game, oh God, there was somebody who, it was Barabanov, like is coming in and goes for the stupid pass instead of trying to fire it. And even Drew called it, like I was calling it out before Drew even said something. I'm like ready to throw things at my screen. I'm like, Barbie, I love you. Come on, fire it off, dude.
Are you referring to the play in the first period?
Yes.
Okay, see, and maybe I saw that a little bit different, but I had heard, I'm watching and I'm listening, and full disclosure, if I heard incorrectly,
many people are saying.
I take full responsibility for that, because I did have divided attention. But I'm listening and I hear, what I hear is Drew saying, oh, Nieto, get the pass, you got to get the pass to Nieto. Nieto is open. And I'm like, thinking in my head, I'm like, that's all Barabanov has done the last 2 weeks, and it's not gone anywhere.
Oh, I thought you were going to disparage Nieto.
I did. I did. How many beautiful passes has Barabanov fed to Nieto that have gone nowhere? So I'm kind of like, no, you know what? Barabanov doesn't want to pass there. I think that's perfectly okay.
Nieto's put up some points in the last 5 games. I'm just saying.
Well, a broken clock is right twice a day.
You just can't deal with it. Gonna get my leaf blower out. All right, so Sharks are 1-7-1 when EK65 doesn't have a point. It happens.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, again, best player helps the team.
Yep. Coming into this,
More at 11.
Sharks were 2-0 in overtime, now 2-1. Vancouver coming in, we're 0-2, now 1-2.
There you go.
Well, another quickie I just think is kind of funny. Curtis Pichelka I'm
big fan.
By the way, Eric, if you're, I'm dying to know what Bonino had to say. I also saw Kunnen on the post, and now they're talking to Kakinen. So if you have any quotes, feel free. The thing that gets me though, Curtis Pichelka talked about that. He said a little quieter than I'm used to during pregame, and then they announced the tickets distributed. Never scanned, but 11,307. Are you surprised that I was off by 100? Like exactly?
No, not at all.
It was damn close. Do I get any foreseen for that? Like a half? A quarter?
I'll have to talk to someone about that.
All right. We have to go up to the judgment. All right. But yeah, 11,300. Definitely felt a little quiet. I got to say, dude, were you a little surprised on Friday when there was some Go Kings Go chants?
No, not really. Just because obviously
you can't be too surprised. Holiday weekend, Black Friday versus LA, easy to travel, and you got a giveaway.
Yeah, that's exactly why. I think I probably would have been more surprised had there not been a bunch of Kings fans, just because of all the the situations that you had mentioned, and again, if you're if you are a Kings fan, let's just say, and you want to see your team
You're one of those,
and you want to see your team on the road, and you want to make sure you have a good time. Pick the worst team in the league.
It always cures your ills, baby.
Right, and I'm very fortunate, despite the fact that the Sharks have been bad for quite a while. I'm very fortunate that they've won every road game I've seen them in except for 2, and so I know from experience, seeing your team win on the road is much sweeter than seeing them win at home when you're at the game.
Nice. So you have a winning record on visiting shots.
Yeah, I'll have to do some tabulations and reveal that in Discord, but yeah.
Nice. I just want to jot this in as it's coming through. Curtis Bishelka reporting, David Quinn, Sharks head coach, says Mario Ferraro will not go out on the 4-game road trip, has not gotten results back from his x-rays, assuming on the foot, as Shane reported earlier. So, oh boy, a defensively questionable, shall we say, team gets a little more questionable.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure. I mean, that's what we're here for.
You just said, oh boy. Is it?
In what regard?
Like,
a little more specificity, sir.
Like,
is losing Ferraro that big of a loss? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's not to disparage the player, but I'm just
sounds like it.
But as we've talked about, he's had a very sort of middle of the road season this year, and so I'm wondering.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit,
right? But I'm just wondering how much of a drop off will it truly be?
Dude, Shane posting right now. Luke Cunnin quoted in the post game tonight. There's no quit in this group.
Makes you think.
Yeah. Okay. There's no quit. Can we talk about talent? Is that something we can get into? Jesse,
I was going to say that's a little bit different.
Coach Jesse Littlefield in the chat saying, I think there was a Kings support club there on Friday. Walking around the arena pregame, it seemed like there was a few very large groups. Yeah, well, and they were a vocal group.
Well, and you know what? A buddy of mine, my buddy I went to the game with, had pointed out to me that most of the Kings fans that were making noise were in one single section, so that if there was a supporter group that was there, that would check out.
And that's fine. And the thing that I want to highlight that I don't think enough people highlight is because, everybody talks about when something bad happens. Every Kings fan that I dealt with on Friday was chill. Now,
totally.
Does it help that they're, in second place or third place in their division, depending on what day it is? And does it help that they won the game 5-2? They might be a little more, shall we say, mellow in that regard, but I didn't see any shenanigans. We've seen over the course of the last couple seasons that whenever the Sharks go to Vegas or vice versa, there invariably seems to be some sort of video on some form of social media of a couple of idiots getting into it. So nice to see that.
Yeah, and there was the last year I believe it was 3 games. I believe it was 3 games in a week or maybe 2 weeks. It was in Vegas, like you mentioned. There was one in San Jose, I believe it was against Nashville, and then one in LA, which I was at the game for in LA. And we've talked about it many times before, but to your point, I've been to, if you don't include the tank, I've been to see the Sharks in 5 other NHL buildings: Vegas, Anaheim, Los Angeles, Colorado, and Minnesota. So I've seen the Sharks on the road quite a few times. Never once had I had an opposing fan cross any lines or any boundaries. They're very nice, a little bit of poking here and there. Oh man, what's up with this guy? But it's all good fun.
Yeah.
And
as long as the chirps are, fun, and as long as you don't get personal about it, it's pretty obvious when the ribbing is good natured and when it's just nothing but vitriol.
Right. And that's the thing, to not to throw anybody under the bus here, but I would say,
okay, what did I say to you?
No, but I would say over 95% of the unruly hockey fans I've seen at games I've been to are Sharks fans.
Oh shit. Okay.
And again, this is speaking as somebody who's been to 5 other NHL buildings.
Hey now. Puck Guy bringing us the quotes in the postgame. Thank you so much, dude. From Nick Bonino. When we got going in the third, we played really well. They scored a couple, but we dominated play. Well, who gives a shit? To be quite honest, we dominated play. How did it end? Well, we both scored twice. Okay, fine. More from Bonino. We could have had 4 or 5 goals as a line. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it don't. Okay, sure, but like when the Bonino line is the one that can like score everything, it does make you kind of question what's up with Couture and Hurdle's line. Let's go on to the next one from Bonino. On Kunin's first goal. Knew it hit something, but Kunin was in the right spot at the right time. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. And then Steve in the chat saying, I got punched in the face at Game 7 in L.A. like 2014. Well, what did you say to provoke that? I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm just fucking with you, man.
No, I know. No, I know. I'm more thinking about just all the Bonino quotes. Like again, like I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair, right? But
we have one more.
It just okay. Go ahead with the quote, and then I'll say.
All right. Finally, from Nick Domino, we got a point. We played a bunch of Pacific teams here. A bunch of Pacific teams. Has he seen the fucking schedule? What is he talking about?
LA and Seattle. That's it.
I mean, Vancouver, LA, and Seattle. Okay, yeah, their last 3, but like, okay, whatever. I'll just let that go. Okay, Steven, put it back up. We got a point. We played a bunch of Pacific teams here. We didn't get the results we wanted. This division is still up for grabs. These points are huge. The division is still up for grabs. Yeah, for 4 other teams.
Yeah, I just, my gosh. Okay, again, I don't want to pile on to anybody. I don't want to jam anyone up. But again, and we talked about it last week. So Bonino goes the first, what game are we on at this point? What is this
24th.
Game number 24?
Yep.
So the first 23 games of the season, Bonino has an assist. And it's crickets, right? It's crickets. And then he has 2 assists tonight, and all of a sudden he's the spokesperson for the organization. I'm just saying, like where were you?
Somebody from the media wanted to talk to him. That's all I'm saying.
And probably because he had 2 assists, which I support that, and I'm very happy for him, truthfully. But I don't know. It just feels like all of a sudden it's like he says, we're still in the hunt. We're this, we're that, and it's like, who's we? Like, you haven't helped.
Who's we, white man? Dude. All right. Let's not hold on to
Ian's point. He says, in fairness, he didn't say who it was up for grabs for.
Yeah. Context means everything, which another point we'll get into later. But and I don't want the chat to turn into I went to this barn and those guys were assholes. I don't want it to every fan base. Doesn't even matter what sport it is. There's always a contingent of assholes that are going to ruin it for somebody, unfortunately.
Totally.
That's why a lot of times when I go to games, if I see somebody wearing an opposing jersey, I try to go out of my way to be cool. Engage with hey, did you come in for the game? Are you local? And just finally get the opportunity to, it's like Jerk. If he, relocated, he's going to go to a Vegas game in a Sharks jersey. I'd see that person. Hey, so, are you a transplant? Did you fly in for the game? Especially in Vegas, because hello, bit of a touristy area. I'm not sure if you knew that.
A little bit.
Coach. Although you wouldn't know it from the seats, the amount of empty seats last night when they hosted the Canucks. Holy crap.
Well, and you know what? So to that point, there were the game against the Sharks, LA Sharks, on this past Friday. There were 3 buddies, Kings fans. They were in our row, and they kept to themselves most of the night. They cheered when appropriate, and that was that. And at the end of the game, we were leaving, and they were like, "Hey man, like, have a good night." I'm like, "Yeah, you too." And then that was it.
That's all you need. Puck Guy. Let's kind of tie a bow on this Vancouver game, and then we'll get to the whole deal.
Other things.
So yeah, Cunnin quoted as saying, "We as a team can't make these mistakes." I'm surprised he didn't say we shot ourselves in the foot, because that seems to be the quote du jour.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's a
I think
different
at
way
this
to
point
say
they don't even have a foot, but go ahead.
The only way this team could have a foot is if they signed Adam. Oh! No? Dude, Adam Foot, is that too old for you, sir? Okay, then.
No, see,
Moving on.
I would have laughed if it was funny.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Oh, dude. Oh.
Got him, dunk.
Got him. Jeez, bro. What's your problem? All right. So Kuzmensko is the fucking first star tonight? Really?
Dude, I know we're not a Canucks podcast, but man, what a little player that he's ended up being for Vancouver. Like, sneaky little ad, through free agency.
All right.
Sneaky little pickup.
Oh, let's get the final one here and then we're out. All right. There's no quit in this group. Okay, sure. Again, I go back to, but is there talent? Never a lack of effort. These small little things are costing us. We got to learn from it and move on. Like, I don't mean to be, pissing out the fire by any stretch, but dude, it just feels, tell me I'm wrong. This is like the same quotes I've heard for the last 10 games.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know. Sometimes you're the garbage. Sometimes you're the trash can, and
what?
My point is
fuck that means.
My point is that no matter what the Sharks do, they always end up on the bad side.
All right. Eric's still dropping in some more. From Capo Kakinen. Very frustrating not to win this game. We played a very good third period. Okay, Capo, I don't know if you know about this, but you have to play a good first and second as well. Many people are saying.
Yeah, ideally.
This is what we've heard. We need to play better defensively. Yeah.
Need to just take defensively off that sentence. Honestly, you could even take better off that sentence as well. We need to play.
Christian, dude, are you working at the Improv tomorrow? All right, let's get into the other 3 games that the Sharks played this week. They picked up a 5-1 win versus Ottawa.
Huge.
Kakinen did start 3 of 4 this week, and we see what happened. No, I'm kidding. But Gregor finally got on. Dude, he might be part of our heroes and zeros later. I mean,
yeah.
Dude put one off the pipe, and I'm like, fuck this guy. Like, whose fucking, cat did he run over to have this bad of a luck?
Had he scored that, I was going to be tweeting at you, right?
But he scored just a few seconds later. But dude,
True.
That shot, he fired that shot so hard, like I think it would have put Talbot into the net. Like, he was pissed. Hold on. All right, hold on. Breaking news.
Real breaking news?
Yeah. David Quinn says there's still no timeline for Ferraro. Sturm will travel on the 4-game road trip back in the Northeast, and we are not sure about Reimer yet. The Sharks do not practice tomorrow, probably because they'll be traveling.
There you have it.
Yeah. So heard it here second. Let's see. So yeah, that dude. Okay, so the thing about Ottawa, what you got to feel for Cam Talbot just a scotch. Dude, they completely destroyed his stat line. I think he finished with like a 5.77. Are you kidding me, dude?
And it's fun. And it's funny because I believe we had talked the week before about, Cam Talbot potentially coming back for Ottawa, helping them maybe turn the corner.
No. Dude, he finished with a 5.71 before getting the hook.
That's what I'm saying, So maybe we should just not talk about other teams like we know what they're going on with.
I guess so. Other notables from this one, Cheek got his first NHL fight after taking a headshot. Third headshot the Sharks had taken in like the previous 5 games. So between that, 1 penalty, no suspensions or fines. But the guy who took liberty against Sturm got a 2-minute. So I don't know. I guess the Department of Player Safety, I guess they go to bed after I don't know, 7 o'clock Eastern.
And who wouldn't? Let's be real.
Yeah, I would.
I can and I have.
Right? But yeah, 3 goals on 7 shots. Yikes. But it was the first regulation at SAP this season. So there you go. Then the Sharks would move on to Seattle, and holy game. Dude, you talk about bumblefuck hockey. This game sucked. Dude, the thing that I'm bummed out about is that I didn't check what the over-under of goals was, because it ended up being 13. Pretty sure it probably hit the over. But then again, it was Jones versus Kakinen, so you know.
Yeah, you know what? I really, and maybe this is my own fault, right? I really kind of felt like once the Sharks had made it close, I believe it was right at the beginning of the third period, I really felt like they were just gonna keep going, and it was gonna be awesome, and they were gonna come back and all that. And yeah, to your point, this game, it sucked, right? Like, and I was talking with my buddy, I said, how many times has a team scored 5 goals and lost?
Dude.
Very rare. And so
unless you're the Coyotes.
Right. And so you think, if the Sharks are a good team, you take a step back and you think, hey, you know what? You're not going to win them all, whatever. Right. But because the Sharks are so bad and then they score 5 goals and still lose, you kind of sit back and you're like, man, they really fucking bad.
Dude, so I mean, the Kraken came into that on a 2-game win streak. They only have 1 regulation loss in November. This is a team that Martin Jones right now is piloting.
He's their best goalie.
Dude, are you kidding? But Nieto got points in this. We like that.
Do we?
I thought so. This is a game, another weird special teams game where like the Sharks go 1 for 2 on the power play, but it's a 4-on-3 goal from Meier. The Sharks, they killed 2 of 3, but the one that they didn't kill was a Burakovsky goal that he scored during a 5-on-3. So you're gonna go, what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, when Donato scores against you, you're like, oh, we're host.
Well, it's funny that you say that because, the Sharks have, I believe they've played Seattle, I want to say 4 times up to this point.
I think they have 1 win, right? And that might be in overtime?
That's not even what I'm thinking about. I'm more thinking, I think Donato has scored in every game he's played against the Sharks with the Kraken.
I think you might be right, dude. Steven, look that up. Oh, dude, I'm telling you. I mean, it was tough to fault Kakinen in the second because, man, they were either tap-ins where the D was asleep. I mean, Alexiak scored off a shot pass. I mean, dude, Patrick Waugh in his heyday is not going to have those. So you got to feel bad for him that the Sharks gave up 2 in less than a minute in the third. There was 6 goals and 24 shots. But to me, Kakinen, not his best, but the D in front of him, and Quinn said as much, was just horrible. So, but I mean, I guess the saving grace is Timo Meier got his 4th career hat trick.
Yeah, that was fun. My fiance is a big Timo Meier fan, so I said, "Hey, Meier got a hat trick," and she's like, "Wow, oh, that's awesome." I said, "Yeah, they also lost." And
8-5.
Yeah, and that was the end of the conversation. But again, I feel like this has been maybe the theme of the podcast this season, but we know what the Sharks are. We know, and you've heard it. We know that they're going to lose more than they win.
Yeah,
but bring some excitement, bring some intrigue, Entertainment. There you go. Timo Meier getting a hat trick. We like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, I called it. I got 14 points on that.
Right. And somebody who, if everything goes according to plan, somebody that's going to be a big part of this team's future, you want them playing well, right?
Now. Well, we'll see. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's finish this off with the Sharks made history again with Seattle. If you remember correctly, last game of the season against Seattle, the Sharks handed the Kraken their first ever franchise victory. In this one, just this past Wednesday, the Sharks helped the Kraken set the bar for the most goals ever scored in a game. Good for you.
Hey, you know what? They're such nice guys. It
is the season for giving.
It is. It's It's that time of year where you want to think about your fellow person and when they might be in need.
Anybody know Supertramp? Give a little bit. Okay. Anyway, let's a couple more quotes because Puck Guy's drawing them up here. From Kakinen says, "Next man up. Cicek has played well. We got Shimmer back to help the team win. Got to keep working as a team with new players and work together." Oh, Christ, these cliche responses are going to be the death of me. Kakinen on taking advantage of getting games in with Reimer out. Anytime I go out there, that is what I do and win. What? That can't be the entire quote. Just saying. Part of that didn't go. From Quinn tonight. Well, we said it already. No timetable on Ferraro. Stern will travel. Not sure about Reimer. No practice tomorrow. Yada, yada, yada. All right. So we're back up to speed on the chat. Sorry. Apologies to those of you who are listening to the audio only. Let's move to the Kings, the game that Jerk and I were at. Reimer would slide back in. Dell gets sent back down. Let's see. We got Cicek back on the scratch sheet along with Gadjevic, who was under the weather. At least Stern was skating leading into this, but still hasn't started. Another game of a little bit of special teams because the Sharks did get 3 opportunities and whiffed on every one of them when it comes to the man advantage and only went 1 for 2 on the PK. And boy, dude, I don't know about you. My seats were right behind the net. And that second period, dude, Rhymes let in some 5-hole softies, bro.
Well, and he didn't make the trip to Seattle because he was obviously injured. And I thought it was a bit interesting that they chose to go with him against LA. Only I don't know, like how injured are you that you're not healthy enough on Wednesday, but by Friday you're ready to go and you can play.
Dude, had to rub some turkey on it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I think
and then not healthy enough to play Wednesday, come back Friday, and then not healthy enough to go tonight.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It makes me wonder if maybe there was an overestimation of how healthy Reimer was, and that's a contributing factor in him getting blitzed. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude. But dude, how honest are players? You know what I mean? Like, how many times did we say Karlsson clearly should not have played, but played anyway? Because he was like,
right.
I feel okay enough. What are you going to do? Oh, we have more Shark stats coming in. Let's see what this one says. Erik Karlsson's 21 points in November are a Sharks record for this month. The previous record was 20, held by Joe Thornton back in 2009. Erik Karlsson's 21 points are tied for second most in any month in San Jose history.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So give him the Norris already, and let's trade him for something. No. All right, so that's the way it was, everybody. There was what else?
I just thought about it. You helped me think of something, right? You just said
what did I say?
You just said give him the Norris already and trade him for something. That's what you just said.
Absolutely. I'm down with both of those things.
The people and again, I don't want to lump you in with this group, but I'm just saying, if there are any Karlsson haters out there,
I'm not a hater.
No, I know.
Okay.
If there are any
clarifying.
Karlsson haters out there who are saying to trade Erik Karlsson, isn't that an admission that he's good enough to be traded, and maybe that he's not some bum?
No,
just saying.
Hold on. Context means everything. Good enough to be traded with that contract.
Fair.
There you go. Oh, we got another one here.
I don't know. I just think it's funny, right? Where it's like, oh my God, this player sucks. We need to trade him. It's like, well, who's trading for him if he sucks?
Hello. Can we talk about Kevin LeBanc? No. Quinn on Kuzmenko.
Yep, Kuzmenko.
Just a couple of tough changes. We've got to be smarter in that situation. Usually in OT, a change makes the difference. Yeah, I mean, we saw it on Twitter just after the OT goal happened. Corey Massasak from The Athletic basically calling out EK for a bad change on that, and that's kind of like what led to everything. So,
right.
I mean, EK giveth, EK taketh away.
And you expect that with a player like that.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. So
it happens.
It's a thing.
Again, I think too we have to remind ourselves, like, the Sharks, again, they're going to lose more than they win. So, like, if they don't win, how disappointed can you truly be, right?
Oh, dude. I mean, this. I feel like we've hit this already, but maybe it bears repeating for anybody who's new here. And if you are new, welcome in. We hope you subscribe and give this a thumbs up.
And enter the next giveaway, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we've got a giveaway. We're going to have giveaways between now and Christmas. But it goes back to something we said at the beginning of, like, that there are fans, there are some fans, oh, I can't believe they're like, we all said that they were going to do this. Like, everybody, like, it wasn't just us. Like, the Elliot Friedmans of the world, the Pierre LeBruns of the world, they're like, San Jose is a bad team. This is going to be a crappy season. So just to see people go, I can't believe we lost. Well, then you haven't been paying attention.
I was going to say, what part is unbelievable?
Right? So, and that leads in perfectly to something that I've been wanting to get to. The broadcast a couple days ago. I'm not calling out anybody specific. I'm just, and I'm not saying this is, and I'm not saying this is specific to the Sharks broadcast, because this happens on national broadcasts. It happens on regional broadcasts. I just feel like sometimes they don't give the entire story in an effort to pump up the team's tires. So I have this where it's kind of like, do you want me to be an optimist here on the Pucknologists and tell you how many games they almost won? They're only 5 points out of a wild card spot. You know, I can tell you the Sharks in the NHL, they are third in high danger chances for, only behind the Knights and the Devils. How about that the Sharks are fifth in goals for? And you're thinking, oh, that's great. And if you hear me say all those things, you're probably asking yourself, well, why are they in such a shitty spot in the division? So now I turn around and say, well, can I be a realist and tell you that the Sharks are 28th in high danger goals for? So chances for, they're third. Goals for, they're 28th. Meanwhile, the Knights are fifth, the Devils are first. So basically kind of illustrates that the Devils and the Knights are taking the most advantage of the chances that they have. The Sharks, not so much. Then we also heard the broadcast a couple of games ago talking about, well, the Sharks are only 3 points out of a wild card spot. And when they had said that, now, to be fair, tonight they did mention the games in hand that all the other teams ahead of the Sharks have, whereas the night before Thanksgiving they did not. And I felt that was a little misleading, maybe a little disingenuous, but the Sharks are 31st in goals against. My point is, I'm not trying to be a buzzkill, but I'm also not here to artificially pump the tires by purposely omitting key pieces of context to make the fan base feel better. And the thing I kind of thought was funny tonight is that during the pregame, Remenda and Brownie kind of showed you the difference. Just listen to how Brownie is very much kind of like, hey, it's all about the positive. We only care about the positive. And Remenda is just kind of like, well, if you don't know what the negative is, then how the hell do you learn from it? I mean, that's what I took away from it, but take it for yourself.
During this Thanksgiving time, you're like, you know what? All right. A lot of people would love to be in this situation, needing to find a way out of it. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys see, or what do you maybe look to, Drew? I know you coached when things were going bad. What can you focus on to help you get out of something like this? I know for me, it was like, all right, let's take the big picture. We've had a tough stretch maybe for a couple games, but we got to get out of this, and it's not going to be focusing on the negative.
Well, when I was coaching, we did focus on the negative more than the coaches do now. They focus much more on the positive, show how to do things right, be very detailed. When you look, though, with the coaching staff, what you do, you've got your tenets. These are the things we have to do in order to win. These are our foundations. And so you go back to those. Where are we going away from it? Where are we doing well? And so overall, what coaches do, you go back to video, you go back to work, and you start reminding the guys, we need you to do this.
I don't know what's funnier than that is that during the first part of Brownie's talk, you can see Drew's face, and he's going, "What the hell is this guy talking about?"
Yeah, he looked disgusted.
Dude, totally. Or the fact that they're right in the middle of Drew's talk, and they bring down all the lights, and the camera can't adjust. Dude, I was like, "Oh, this poor guy." That's too funny. But either way, I just wanted to point out, when it comes to at least the Pucknologists, I can't speak for anybody else, but when it comes to us, we try to be honest. And so when I see some of those things, and I'm like, oh, come on, tell the whole story. Tell the whole story. So Sharks have they lost 5 straight, won 3 straight, then lost 4 of their last 5, and then after tonight, it's basically 1-4-1. A lot of losses by just 1 goal earlier. 3 of their last 4 losses coming into the Vancouver game, though, were by 3 goals. So that is starting to change. Now, I've got some stuff for you. Many people are saying that if you are out of the playoffs by American Thanksgiving, or what Canadians call Thursday, your chances of making the playoffs are generally less than 10%. As of Thanksgiving, the Sharks were 30th in the NHL, 7th in their division. Is there any money that you would possibly put down and say the Sharks sneak in?
No.
Okay, then. So I don't understand why there are other people trying. Like, I get the optimism train. I'm for it. But so far, based on what we've seen defensively, especially from this team, I'm like, I don't even understand how you could possibly throw that out there unless you're purposely being misleading or you're just insanely optimistic, like to a fault.
Or option number 3, you're delusional.
Same.
Because here's the other thing, and people, people are gonna say, oh well, on January 3rd, 2019, the Blues were in last place and they won the Stanley Cup.
I am so tired of hearing about that.
But here's the thing, right? That in that situation, that is a good team that was kind of going through it a little bit. The Sharks are a bad team. There's not a single fixture of this team where I look and I say, hey, you know what? If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things go right, maybe we can probably get in there. And you notice how very wishy-washy my words are there.
Mm-hmm.
The Sharks have good foundational pieces. Obviously, they've pretty much identified who their big 4, big 5, big 6 are. Hurdle, I would say Hurdle, Meier, Barabanov,
Couture.
Erik Karlsson, Couture, Kakinen. Ferraro, so big 7, whatever.
Kakinen?
Okay. Anyway, the Sharks know who their foundational pieces are going forward. Those are the guys you want to play well. So if those guys play well, you can look and say, hey, you know what? This guy that we're hitching our wagon to, he's playing really well, and that's awesome for us. But at the same time, you also have to take a step back and say, well, you know what? The top is really good, but man, that middle and that bottom,
it's a cliff, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And the Sharks, we've talked about it. I don't know how many times we've talked about it this year, and we've only done 7 shows. Where the Sharks are, you need to find positivity, pleasure, excitement, whatever, in individual players, individual plays, individual moments, because you're not going to see big picture happiness or big picture excitement.
I still love the fact that the Sharks are 1-7-1 if EK doesn't have a point. I was just kind of, man.
Goes back like,
I know, but if you're a Shark and you're looking up at the board and there's like 10 minutes left and you're down a goal and EK hasn't scored, you're like, we're host. But if you're looking up at the board, you're down a goal, EK has a point in the game, you're kind of like, oh, there's hope. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that goes back to like what I had mentioned earlier, right? Where again, people look at that and they say, oh, wow. Like people are going to say, man, that just goes to show you how valuable Erik Karlsson is. He's single-handedly dragging the Sharks kicking and screaming through this season. And maybe that's true. I choose to look at it as like, holy fuck, there's not another option after him.
Fucking A. And you know what? There isn't.
Right.
There might be. He's just playing for a different team.
Yeah, possibly. But again, I hate to look in the past, but you look at the last time the Sharks were in the playoffs, right? Obviously, Burns and Erik Karlsson, like those are your big defensemen that you expect things from. But like, you look, Vlasic and Brendan Dillon and Justin Braun all either got 20 points or flirted with 20 points. Even Tim Heed had double-digit points as a scratch defenseman.
Dude,
like,
remember the days when we used to love on some Heed?
I still love Tim Heed. But my point is on a good team, and that Sharks team, hot take, I think that Sharks team was better than 2016.
Oh, well, you know what? All healthy, I think I would probably be in that camp.
Dude, if Martin Jones is average, the Sharks win a Stanley Cup that year. But anyway, my point is that when things are going good, even your guys not really known for offense all that much still get involved, right? And again, as I said, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, 25 points in that season. He hasn't even gotten close to 20 since then. And not to put all the blame on Vlasic, because I think he's been quite good this year. But you get my point.
Oh no,
right?
Absolutely no. And I would. I'm not saying it's the Vlasic resurgence tour, revenge tour, redemption tour. None of those things.
No, but he's playing better.
Yeah. Now the previous
it's the
3
Karlsson
years,
revenge tour, if anything.
Oh yeah, but I mean, when it comes to Vlasic, were we also talking that maybe coming into the season the bar was on the low side?
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So let me ask you this: if the Sharks really care,
again, like think about it like this, right? If you have nothing, then you have nothing to lose, right?
If you have nothing, and then there's something, what would you like? Something?
But you get my point, right?
Oh, sure.
If you have nothing, you've got nothing to lose, and that's Vlasic this year.
And how many years left? 3 after this?
After this year, we've got the Sharks have Vlasic locked up for 3 more years after this year.
But it's no longer a full no trade; it's a modified.
Correct, modified no trade, and the salary cap's going up, and the potential buyout becomes more friendly, and he's also playing better. So it's kind of anybody's guess.
Sure.
You know?
All right. So if the Sharks do care about really making the playoffs this year, now and they're going to tell you they do, all the tires are going to be pumped. Everybody's got an air compressor in their backyard. They're just waiting to bump it up. But if they're really, truly down to try to make a move, because right now it's not looking good, like I said. So is it time to call up some Cuda players? Because some of the guys, Karlsson, Couture, Meier, I mean, these guys are shouldering a lot. And you can see it. They're a little frustrated. EK, you got him breaking sticks over nets earlier this week. In the month of November so far, Bonino, up until tonight, he had 2 assists tonight, but coming into tonight's game 24, Bonino had 1 assist in November. Is a -4. Lindblom, 1 assist -7. And then you've got the penalty machine that is Luke Cunnin, 38 penalty minutes in 23 games. Are you going to tell me that no Cuda player would be an upgrade here? Agazino, Bordelot, Robbins, Eklund?
Well, I'm with you.
Or is the right call to leave them, let them marinate, and not let the shark stink get off on them so far? You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, I think ultimately what it comes down to, it's all clerical, right? I mean, whether we like it or not, and we made this point at the very beginning of the season, whether we like it or not, Bordelot and Eklund, those are the 2 big guys, right? They have to, the Sharks are carrying 14 forwards, 12 regulars, 2 extras. That means if Bordelot if Bordelot and Eklund want to be on the NHL roster, they need to outperform 4 players on this team, the 2 extras and then the 2 of the regulars.
Are you telling me they aren't?
I mean, again, it's all clerical because you call them up and then what, right? You're over the roster limit. You're over the salary cap. Sending guys down is probably not enough. It's all clerical. And that's why I say, and I said it on the first episode of the season, Nick Bonino is a center. Matt Nieto is a winger. who are pending UFAs. Those guys are out the door. Bordeleau's a center. Eklund is a winger. It almost seems
fait accompli.
Perfect. And you know what? And here's the other thing too. Like, it's usually more common that UFAs are traded and RFAs are not. But again, maybe Timo Meier. I hope not, but maybe Timo Meier. Maybe Noah Gregor. If he's like, you know what? I'm tired of 3 fucking coaches in a row not playing me. Maybe Noah Gregor. You know what I mean?
To be fair, Gregor has gotten some ice time over the last 5 games.
And you know what? And I wrote it down, and we're going to talk about it when we get to, Bug and Windshield.
Sure.
But Gregor, it's exactly as I said last week. Give Gregor ice time. He's going to impress you. What has happened this week? He played all 4 games. Very good stats. Not huge numbers, but very good stats.
Well, I look at the month of, or I'm sorry, wait a minute. What am I looking at? 23 games played. So we're 23 games in. Dude, Oscar Lindblom, 4 assists, -8.
Like, it sucks.
Why are you here?
No, I understand what you're saying, and I think he is a healthy scratch candidate for sure. But again, we talked about it last week, right? You still, the guys who have the most skill, you still want to see them do like something, right? And for me, Lindblom is one of those guys. I know the stats are not in his favor, but I think if we were picking, and I even said it in the chat, if you could scroll back up if you wanted to, like, Lindblom is still one of 3 players that I would be rolling out on that second line with Couture and Barabanov just because of the skill that's had, right?
I've been so, I don't know who's upset me more, Lindblom or Cunnin so far.
At least Cunnin has goals.
I mean, after tonight, sure. I mean, didn't he, what is he at now? 4? So he
5.
Doubled his shit tonight?
He went from 3 to 5.
Oh, good for him.
Hey, you know what though? 12 points in 24 games. I mean, that's not a bad clip to be scoring at for under $3 million.
Is he one of those guys that you're looking for 1 a month from? Is that does he fit into that group?
No.
Oh,
he does not whatsoever. But
all right.
But again, like, if you want to be team optimist, if you want to Curtis Brown this shit, like Luke Cunnin, he's on pace for over 40 points this season, which is, if you consider the fact that he's underperformed, that's obviously hugely optimistic piece of information, and you're hoping that continues and trends the right way. But again, to the point you just mentioned a couple minutes ago, the penalty minutes and the plus minus, you got to clean that up.
Hell yeah. It's funny, Jesse, dude, keep your eyes on your own notes. But I just wanted to ask this. Could really use Pouliot right now. Too bad he's hurt and an AHL only contract. So I don't understand that. AHL only? I mean, why would you have a guy in the A if you can't bring him up?
Well, a lot of it is, guys who don't get an NHL deal, an AHL only contract is their only option. But a lot of it too is, the AHL only deal, it can ostensibly be like a tryout,
And
then also like contracts as well. You can only have 50 contracts on the books, and the Sharks are currently at 49. So, they want to have some flexibility there.
Which begs the question, why is Scott Harrington here?
I would bet you, I don't know that I'm ready to put any kind of scratch on this, but I bet if Pouliot continues to play the way he has with the Barracuda.
How do you not give him a shot?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I would wonder, if maybe he keeps playing the way he's playing, and then let's say come trade deadline season, let's say the Sharks subtract more bodies than they add, let's just say, I could see Pouliot end up with an NHL deal.
I mean,
people forget Cicek was on an AHL only deal last year, and he played well enough to get an NHL deal.
Well, and how old is Pouliot?
28.
Shit, how do you not give this guy a fucking look? I mean, just when you look at your roster, for Christ's sakes, I mean, when you sit there and Harrington, Cicek.
I thought Cicek's played well.
As have I. But, I just look at it, I'm like, you had the option to bring up Pouliot and you brought up Harrington instead? Like, maybe that's a contractual thing, and again, I go back to
it is. They can't bring Pouliot up. That's the thing.
Yeah, see? So that sucks ass. And and again, it just makes me go, maybe I'm reading the tea leaves different from somebody else. It just feels as if Mike Grier is just kind of like, there is a, that what do they call it? The Chinese wall. And if I don't mean that in an offensive way by any way, stretch, or, anyway, it's that whole thing of we're going to have two distinctive clubs. Never the twain shall meet unless it's absolutely necessary. Like for anybody but Dell to come up, both Reimer and Kakinen would have to be injured. You know what I mean? Like, even though Mann is playing out of his ass, or I shouldn't say out of his ass, out of his mind, but Mann is playing really well. Nope, don't want it. Like, this is the season to change the culture. And we brought in these guys to change it. Even though we could bring in more offensively gifted people, not going to do it.
Well, and I think that comes from wanting the best for your young players, right? I mean, you hear all the time of guys, and I think maybe Nick Robertson in Toronto is an example, guys who are on the AHL NHL shuttle, and so they're basically, if they're either playing in the AHL, which is good, or they're, most of the time they're on the NHL roster not skating. Yes. And you see a lot of guys who are they're on the shuttle and their development is hindered or it's slowed down just because they're not really doing all that much. And I don't want to say, I don't want to say that that Mike Grier made a decided effort to tank this year because, for all the love that tanking gets, it is still illegal and the Sharks can get fined draft picks and money for doing it openly. But I kind of think Grier looked at this team and said, hey, you know what? This is a we'll see what happens kind of team, and we'll just fill the roster with, journeyman, veterans, guys who will gritty guys who will get us to the next step. I don't want to say placeholders, but placeholders.
Yeah. Placeholders, and again, it's the play the right way culture, all the platitudes and blah, 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 blah.
Right, and I think you're going to see once Grier feels as though the Sharks are in a position to legitimately challenge for a playoff spot, that's when you're going to see super aggressive moves, I think.
All right, and again, this is just me being pedantic, but I don't want to get canceled because I used the wrong term. If you Google the term Chinese wall, it's used in business. Describes a virtual barrier intended to block the exchange of information between departments, which is how I was using it. All right, virtual barrier. So I think that right now is what exists between the Sharks and the Cuda, unless there's some sort of emergency where they need to bring up somebody. Now, it's fortunate, of course, that they have Dell because he's already used to that system and it has a ton of veteran presence.
Well, and he's going to be the Sharks' backup once Reimer's gone as well.
God, with any luck.
And again, think about it like this, right? If you're McAniemi or you're Strauss-Mann, do you want to get called up and get blitzed on a nightly basis? Right?
Yeah, not with this Sharks defense. No.
If you're Eklund or Bordelot or Robbins or Gushkin, do you want to get called up and have David Quinn play you 7 minutes a night on the fourth line doing nothing?
I don't know, to be honest, if David Quinn is a smart coach, which I kind of think he is, I don't know that they would be playing. I think they'd probably be like the third. Like you'd bring up Robbins, Eklund, and Bordelot, they would be the third line.
See, and again, and I would like to think that he is a smart coach too. I genuinely like David Quinn. I think he's a decent coach, but again, you look at
we've seen worse.
But you look at the bottom six. I would say the bottom six outside of Sturm and Lorentz has been brutal. And there's been
even Lorentz I haven't been that thrilled with, to be honest with you.
I think he's right where we need him to be, truthfully.
You meeting expectations even if those expectations aren't very high.
Correct.
Okay.
But again, and they showed the lineup tonight, like Noah Gregor, and I know there's a lot been said about Noah Gregor, but it's like Noah Gregor, he's on the third, Couture, he's the shooter, Barabanov is the passer. Like Gregor's got some speed, he's got some shot. He's a very tenacious player. Put him on that line, right?
Yeah.
Why? And I look, Nick Bonino, to your point, you mentioned it, 1 assist in 20 games. The only reason he's still in the lineup is because he's got a freaking A on his jersey. Like, let's be honest.
Or the fact that there's just literally no one else. I mean, coming into tonight,
But there's not.
Gadjevic was under the weather. Sturm's on IR. Who the fuck else is there?
Svechnikov?
But he played tonight. My point
True.
being is that
That's
there
a good
was
point.
nobody to scratch Bonino for because the other guys, Sturm and Gadjevic, were already out.
And okay, sure, that's a fair point to bring up in this one situation. But even then, like, if the Sharks really want to get fun, like, you can run
Froggy.
If they're feeling froggy, you can run 7 defensemen.
So with Harrington, fuck you.
You know what? I know Harrington, he gets a lot of crap, but you know what? Like, he's played 2 games this year. He's got an assist. He's a plus player. Like, I'm still looking at as incomplete. Like, I'm not ready to judge him yet.
Okay. We have to move on.
Why?
because
this is our network.
Says who? Because I have some stuff for you. Mike Greer broke hockey Twitter last week. We all know by saying he'd listen to any offers, or also known as doing your job as a general manager for whatever reason. And and all of a sudden, 87 different hockey blog, podcast, radio shows, whatever, all just were given all this free content off a relatively benign question, and all eyes were focused on Erik Karlsson. Well, for whatever reason, that shift has now moved to Timo Meier. 26. He is under team control for only one more season after this. Speculation has already begun, started that he could be one of the more marquee players available in 3 months' time, if not sooner. Meier is due a $10 million qualifying offer from the Sharks this offseason if a long-term extension cannot be signed, and he is eligible to become an UFA 2024. It would not make sense for the Sharks to give Meier that money and let him walk to UFA. So they could still deal him at the 24 trade deadline, but the return could potentially be less than it would be this March or in the summer. So if Greer gets the right offer before March 3rd, he could trade Meier, whose contract does not have any protection right now. The Sharks can't offer him anything less than what they gave Hertl, right?
I wouldn't say that. I bet if you gave him 8 times 8, I bet he would take that.
I mean, but isn't that, about what Hertl has?
Right.
I mean, it's not a significant difference.
No, and I understand that, but that's more to calm down the people who say that, the people who are coming out and saying that Timo Meier is going to get, the Mitch Marner treatment, right? Which is $11.25 million. That's to calm those people down, because that's not happening.
But do you think it's a case of, here's the thing, and this is what I worry about. 26, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're going to give a kid max term, seems probably like the perfect fit.
Totally.
But maybe have the Sharks learned, you know what? We keep giving out these ridiculous deals, whether it's Vlasic, Couture, Hertl, Karlsson. Maybe we need to dial this shit back and say, how about 8.5 for 7 years?
And I think that would be, and I think, that would be fine too. I mean, I think especially from Timo Meier's perspective, right? Say, at 26 years old, right? There's sort of 2 schools of thought, because you have on the one hand, somebody would say, well, you know what? I want as much term and as much money as I can get. I want job security, right? And
Who
then,
doesn't?
Right, which is completely fair. But then you're going to have the other 26-year-old who's going to say, you know what? If I sign a 5-year deal that'll bring me to 31, I have one more chance to ring the bell.
Nice. Good call.
And-
you think that's something that Claude Lemieux, Timo's agent, would be a proffer for?
I mean, I think ultimately, I don't think it matters. If you get Timo Meier to 8 years, awesome. And if you can only get him to 5 years, that's still plenty of time to sort of massage the situation and get him to sign again.
I got to say, I feel just because of where this team is at right now, I'd prefer the 5.
And that's fine. And, that's especially because you've seen, and we're hopefully coming out the other side of this, but you've seen with the pandemic, a lot of, it's not automatic that you get the 8-year contract. because of the
unless you play for the Sharks.
No, I'm just talking with it during the pandemic.
Oh, I get you.
Like, it's not always automatic. And, you know, somebody may look at that and say, well, you know what? I don't know. The salary cap is still like the expectations and the predictions are very generous and they're very optimistic, but there's still a degree of uncertainty with everything because you just don't know. And so Taylor Hall's a prime example, and John Klingberg. You know, I could ring the bell now, or I can kick it down the road the year and hopefully ring the bell even more. And so because I think we're coming out on the other end of this, I think Timo Meier would be more likely to sign an 8-year deal just because, again, by all indications, you know, he wants to be here, right?
Well,
and I still say all along that the $10 million QO, I still say that it's a false flag, to be honest.
See, and that's not what I'm worried about. I'm a little more worried about, does Timo say, we've missed the playoffs for 3 years, we're missing it for the fourth? Do, you know, the tea leaves, at least as it stands right now, look, social media crowd is saying, hey, Timo might be a great fit for the Leafs, maybe a great fit for the Islanders. Are those teams a bit more closer to the big shiny thing than San Jose is going to be over the next 5-6 years when he is in his prime? Maybe he decides that, you know what, it's time for me to get the hell out of San Jose because I want a better shot, and right now I don't see it happening in San Jose.
Right, and I understand what you're saying, and I to a degree I agree with it, and it's why I've said, you know, it all depends on where this team ends up, right? If they're on a 2-year plan, it makes more sense to keep him. If they're on a 5-year plan, it makes more sense to throw him overboard. I mean, I've said that many times. But here's the other thing I would look at, right? It pretty much, I would say pretty much for the last 3 seasons, Timo and Hertl have been stapled together. I have to think when Hertl put pen to paper, I have to think Meier was like, yes, my guy, my man is sticking around.
I feel that.
Timo, and again, I don't know this based on any inside information, just from outside perspective.
I don't know that it's fact. I just know that it's true.
Timo and Erik Karlsson appear to be really good buddies and appear to play well together. If I'm Timo, I'm looking, you know, my buddy Hertl has got 7 more years after this year. My buddy Erik Karlsson's got 4 more years after this year. I think I want to stick around with my buddies. I've been here a long time. I love the city. I love the team. I love this. I love that. My buddies are here.
All right. Let me ask you this.
Here's the thing. The grass is not always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it.
Dude, that needs to be on a T-shirt.
And I know Ian is going to know where I got that quote from, but
right.
But the point is, you know, it's not always like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I feel you. Ian predicting 9.5 a year.
No more than that.
Well, see, I look at that and I go, fuck you, let him walk. Like, I think that's too much, even though the cap is going up. The first thing I'm going to ask you, because you're the king of asking this question, or sure. I shouldn't say asking it, but at least throwing up the comparison. What's Matty Barzal making right now?
You're going to go that route.
Well, I'm going to go that route because if memory serves, Barzal definitely had, like, the first 3 years, he definitely was like, yeah, I'm the better of these two. But the last, 2 years, I think Timo is making a case for himself. Like, maybe you're not the best.
Which I understand. And Barzal, he is he's got
a lot of assists. He's not scoring a lot of goals.
Right, and he is set to make $9.15 million starting next year. He is on pace. He is scoring at a better pace than Timo Meier is this year. Matt Barzal is on pace for 89 points, whereas Timo Meier is on pace for, quick math, 84. So it's not that big of a difference.
But now can't we also qualify the fact that Barzal is on a better team right now?
Can you?
Well, I mean, Ian pointing out too that Barzal's a center.
Right. And Bauer, yes, he's a center, and yes, the Islanders are a better team right now, but again, and it's easy. I don't want you to think that I don't respect your question, because I do, but I kind of feel like, I don't know, like saying, well, this player got this, so this player should get this. I don't know that it's a fair comparison.
Not that they should, but something comparable.
Sure, right, which I understand, and that's an easy thing to do. But again, I think it's all case by case, right? It's like, what do you think about the team? What do you think about the city? Do you like the direction? Do you like your buddies? You know what I mean? I think, a prime example of that would be Tomas Hertl, right? Tomas Hertl is making, almost $8.25 million. I think you could make a pretty convincing argument that had he been, you know what, I'm going to go to UFA and see what's out there, he probably could have been a $9 million player.
And
Nine and a half.
No. And I agree with you, but the thing that's making me kind of chuckle a little bit is, I'm sure you remember a couple seasons ago that every time we would bring up the name Tomas Hertl, it would be like, oh, but his knees.
Yeah.
Remember that crap?
Yeah.
When was the last time Tomas Hertl had an injury? Like 4 years ago?
I was going to say, I mean, assuming you don't count COVID as an injury, right?
Yeah, no, I don't. So, like, the last time the Sharks went to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, that
like
would have
literally his last injury.
Yeah, that would have been COVID season 1 when he banged himself up with the knee injury. But again, that was,
I hear all that. I'm like, F you.
Right, like he played every game this year so far. He's played every game last year. He missed 6 games in the hub season because of COVID.
Yeah, can hardly blame that on him.
Right.
So I went out inside and breathed. What am I going to do?
Right, like at a certain, and I understand, and again, it's an easy narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at a certain point, things are just not issues anymore, right?
Sure, absolutely, and yeah, if somebody ever brings up Hertl's knees again, I'm gonna. You want to talk about his knees? Let's talk about his nephews. Hey, get it? Nieces, knees. No, okay, never mind. All right, let's move on to the goalies before we finish this shit up. The funny part of earlier this week is when Aaron Dale got called up after Reimer was reported to have an LBI and didn't make the trip to Seattle, but all the speculation was, did Reimer get traded? No.
That was fun, wasn't it?
It was. It was a real fun, 36 hours, to be honest. But it has been such a seesaw roller coaster with the Sharks goalies. Let me just throw these out. Reimer, over his last 6, posts an 857, garbage. Prior to that, 976. Oh, yeah. Prior to that, 700. Fuck you. 923. Oh, yeah. Prior to that, 933. Hell yeah. Then Kakinen, his last 5, including tonight, 800. Oh, kicking the smalls. Prior to that, 731. Oh, you suck. Prior to that, 974. Hey, now? But then 875 and 886. So there is no, middle ground with the Sharks goaltenders seemingly this season. They're either going to kick it or they're going to get kicked. Or let me put this in Hedekin speak. They're either going to kick butt or they're going to be they're either going to get their butt kicked or they're going to be a kick butter. There is no middle ground. It is amazing. Nobody wants to be the Martin Jones 896 guy. You know what I'm saying? But the special teams have been pretty decent. Going into the Vancouver game tonight, the Sharks 20% on the power play, 2 for 10, 85%. And you'll hear Drew Remender. You hear a lot of people say, if you can make those 2 percentages equal more than 100%, you're going to be pretty decent. Right now, it's 105%. The Sharks are not that great. They've allowed 2 power play goals in their last 3 games. So let's see if this 4-game road trip to the Northeast can help solidify some things. Jerk, let's move on to the hero and zero of the week. I got mine. Who's yours?
Well, I kind of alluded to it earlier, and I'm going to stick with it partially to, I don't have
to change mine, do I?
No.
Okay.
No. And I'm not rubbing your nose in it, but somebody's nose is getting rubbed into it. Noah Gregor.
Oh, see? And dude, the rundown has an honorable mention? Absolutely.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the thing, and again, with Noah Gregor, we talked about it pretty much the last 2 weeks. We've said, look, whatever you want to say about the Sharks, eventually you have to start trying other things. You have to put people in positions to succeed. We've felt that Noah Gregor has not been in that place up to this point. And, everything that's gone on, obviously Gadjevich is ill and Sturm is hurt. And so there's sort of extenuating circumstances, but Gregor
Like he was going to get a look whether you wanted to or not.
Exactly. David Quinn was forced to play him, and you know what? It's worked out. He played all 4 games this week. He did have a goal. He had a goal in the first game, so you kind of get that extra like, hey man, maybe play me and more of this will come, right? But
dude, I think he's used his speed really well.
Yeah.
He's been defensively sound. The thing for me is I got to ask, how is it that he's been scratched all these games, yet he continued on with Lindblom or Bonino?
Again, and that kind of ties back to what I was inferring about David Quinn hopefully being a smart coach. Right? But again, it's so much more than that, right? You look at the goal is obviously really nice, and as to your point, he's used his speed really well. But here's the thing: the Sharks have won this week 4 games. They lost 3 of them. Gregor plus player through it all.
Love it.
11 shots on goal for him, which again, you can't score if you don't shoot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gregor's 11 shots on goal. That was good for. He was 3rd on the team this week in shots on goal, which is awesome. 5 hits, 3 block shots, 5 takeaways. Guy is doing literally everything.
Yeah, fired up, dude. I mean, like, you get what you pay for.
Literally,
I mean, you were
everything.
getting, like the dude. That's high return on investment.
That's what I'm saying. And so that's to my point is like, okay, maybe Sturm comes back after this road trip. Maybe Gadjevich gets healthy. Maybe he gets in. But I would hope, as somebody who, I don't want to pretend like I'm anywhere close to NHL coach, but like I look at what's going on, and if I were a coach, I'm like, you know what? At the very least, this guy is building up equity to stay in the lineup when people start getting healthy.
Well, dude, he's only 24. He's making less than $1 million.
Yeah.
And he's going to be RFA. So even if the Sharks, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this, if they're dumb enough to not re-sign him in some way, shape, or form, someone's picking him up. I mean, Christ Almighty, if they picked up Balsers.
Well, and that's been the theme, pretty much since the pandemic started, right? I mean, you remember, I'm sure you do. He, started
the pandemic. Yeah, it was in all the papers. I saw it.
Right, but like he started playing, towards the shutdown 2.5 years ago. He started playing with Couture and was playing really well. That following season, never made it back to that line, and then last year, very rarely made it back to that line, and even this year has not made it back to that line.
Can you take care of the chat, please?
Yep. So it's like, this player, Noah Gregor, he's done nothing but prove himself, and it's still showing not to be enough, right?
And see, that's the part that I kind of look at Quinn, and I'm like, what is it that you're not getting from Gregor, but you feel like you are from Lindblom?
Or Nieto, or Bonino, or
man, you just
Cunnin.
hate Nieto.
No, but it's all
I'm
those
starting to
guys.
feel, is it because he's Hispanic?
No, okay, gee, don't even say that. But like, look at this lineup tonight. Like,
well, I mean, what else was there? Everybody else is injured.
Honestly, Svechnikov and Lorentz.
Yeah,
they're good in my book.
See, I like Svechnikov, and that I've been a proponent of Svech from early on, but I will say, kind of like the last 5-6 games, I've been a little like, ooh, dude, you're making some bad decisions.
Sure, and that's fair. But to your point, you mentioned Lindblom, you mentioned Bonino, Gadjevich. I know he's sick and it's not fair, but I would lump him in there as well. Matt Nieto as well. He's obviously, to your point, he's played well lately, but still, it's not sustainable level of play.
Yes.
And it's like, at absolute worst, you're going to get the same thing out of Noah Gregor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if things maybe go the way they're supposed to, right? You could get 10 goals out of Noah Gregor, 15.
I completely agree with you. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Gregor is potentially, and we might have already said this before, like maybe a season ago, do you think Gregor is like Nieto 2.0, where it's like
No.
it's a guy. Okay, well let me put it in context first. It's a guy who's got speed. He's got not a world beater shot, but he's got some decent hands. Well, I would argue that Gregor's hands are better than Nieto's, but decent speed, can kill penalties. Maybe is not deployed the way that you would want him to, similar to how Nieto was deployed in San Jose before he went to Colorado.
I get what you're saying and I respect it, but
but you're wrong.
Well, no, it's not that you're wrong, it's just that I don't agree.
Oh, okay.
Because
you're just not as right as Jerk is.
Well, because I do think like the speed and the penalty killing, it's an obvious comparison.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you get where I'm going.
Right, but Gregor is more physical, and I think Gregor is better offensively. That's the key difference there.
Agree with that totally. So Gregor is your hero of the week.
Correct.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Barbie. I know that's your man, right?
Can I say something real quick about that?
Sure.
Would it be a bit heroic?
Oh fuck! Here we go.
Would it be a bit heroic to list Barabanov as a sleeper pick for team MVP? Is that a bit heroic?
Boy, I mean, he had that slow start because of no camp, missed a couple of games. I think that's I think you're fishing for some foreseen points, but that's not to say you don't get something on the reel by March.
Sure.
So
I mean, I just look to to your point, and obviously this is your player. I'll let you talk about it, but he didn't have a training camp. He started the season injured,
right?
And he's fifth on the team in scoring.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. How is he looking on that Manuel?
So he's kind of middle of the road on the module, but
again, late start.
Right, late start, and two of his 3 goals are high value.
Gotta love it.
So it's he's chipping away. And again, we've talked about it all along. Like Barabanov's the one guy where I'm like, yeah, if you got 7 goals, 10 goals, whatever, because you're gonna get 40 assists.
Oh yeah, no, but he's a guy that I feel like 15 to 18 goals should be like, that's
like I think
sweet spot.
That's like I would say that's his ceiling. Like if he could be a 12 goal, 50 assist guy, I think that's perfect.
Yeah. No, I'm pushing for 15.
Maybe that's a reach, but I just think you're never he's not a goal scorer, bottom line,
Long Island advantage, Nieto wins from Alex. Nieto's from Long Beach, right? Wrong coast, bro. But my hero for the week, Barabanov. 4 games prior to tonight against Vancouver. Barbie, as Jerk and I like to say, quietly putting up things. 2 goals and an assist, but had an assist tonight. Only Meier and Couture have more goals during the previous 4 games. And during that same time, he was a +3 while Herta was even and leads the team in shooting percentage at 28.6.
Third on the team in assists.
Right. He did have a kind of I said it at the top of the show when we first started talking about tonight's game against Vancouver. He did kind of have a stupid pass tonight. He got to fire that puck. Mm-hmm. But my man, like if he's, it's one of those things where I feel like he's getting better game over game, and that's really recognized when you consider where he was mid-October.
Well, and not only that, but I would say, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't, he is one of a very small number of players who I feel like almost never do anything wrong.
You're right.
Like, has he had, and he's played, with the Sharks as it stands right now, he's played, do some quick math here, he's played 99 games with the Sharks. Can you remember a bad game?
I mean, I can remember a game where it's, like there's a game here, there was just kind of like tonight where there's not a bad game, but a couple pieces here, there like, oh my God, like tonight I was like, oh fuck Barbie, you got to fire that puck. But then he'd make 3 other plays where you're like, yeah, that's my man.
Well, and again, to your point, that moment where it's like, oh, you have to fire the puck, his decision there didn't hurt the team.
Great point. And that leads me to mine, which is I can't ever remember watching a game where I'm like, oh, fuck, Barabanov, what are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. 99 games with the Sharks. I've not seen a bad game.
All right. Let's move to the 0 then. Can I start or you want to start?
Go for it.
Mario Ferraro.
Yeah.
I love you, man. You are Captain Energy.
I feel bad. 3 weeks in a row.
Why? Did you have him last week?
I had him the last 2 weeks.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm okay. I didn't mean to pile on. I mean, he's now on IR. But it's funny that even Quinn called this out, that maybe he's just trying to do too much in Burns' absence. At the beginning of the season, before it even started, Ferraro was asked about the absence of Brent Burns, and he said, I need to bring a little more offense to my game. I need to, be some sort of a threat that people respect, and so he's got to bring that. And maybe it's just a case of, I think Mario is just trying to do too much. And so I say, Ferraro, take this time on IR, get back to your game, man. A little more Justin Braun, Vlasic, and a little less Burns, Karlsson.
I'm glad that you said that. That's sort of, and people are going to say things, but sort of that.
Many people are saying.
Right, but sort of that Justin Braun, Brendan Dillon, Brad Stewart 2.0 style, where you're more worried about your side of the ice, you're physical, you skate, I know everybody wants to score goals, but some people just, it's not their job. And as we've talked about this is now the fourth show in a row we've talked about this. Ferraro was at his best his rookie year when he was the physical sort of defensive defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, like you said, he's not going full offensive defenseman, but he's trying to open up to that side a little bit, and I think it's put him in a pinch. I mean, he's the worst plus-minus player on the team right now.
By far.
By far. And again, it says a lot when you are worse plus-minus than your own D partner. Because usually those numbers are close, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're not the same, but they're close.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even close.
All right. Your 0 for the week, sir.
I mean, I don't.
Ferraro's a really good pick.
Well, no, and I part of me, like, it feels like I'm not doing the situation justice because I've gone back to this well many times, but everybody is just sort of not that great, there wasn't really
you're going with the whole team, are you?
Well, and I know, and I've said that multiple times, but like nobody has really stood out as being like tremendously bad, right?
Or tremendously good, aside from EK65.
Right. I mean, I would say James Reimer just for only because, and again, this is extremely painful to do this, but like, you miss the game on Wednesday and then you get blitzed on Friday. Like, don't worry about playing. Worry about being healthy.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's at some point that's maybe, is it me? Do you think, and I'm going to ask you to kind of vamp for about 30 seconds, but do you think there are just maybe more than Ferraro? There's just a couple guys that, and we've, again, I don't want to say it's an easy out or cliche or a platitude, but it's the idea of this team, even though it's been said, I don't know how many times, but through 24 games, you're not talented enough. So you need to outwork, you need to outsmart the other team. You don't have enough talent, unfortunately, like whether that's a hard truth to admit or not. So like, give me a line. Like if you're top 6, it's, it's Hurdle, it's Meier, it's LeBanc, it's Couture, it's Barabanov, it's, I don't know. I mean, Nieto, really? See, like right there, if Nieto is in your top 6, how do you fix this?
Well, and I think kind of like the point that you were mentioning was, we know the Sharks are not a good team this year, and so you're not going to have, like I said, big picture success, big picture excitement, big picture happiness, right? So you need to find sort of the one-off success, the smaller doses of success, the foundational moments, right? And I think the Sharks, whatever you want to say about the team as a whole, I think those first 5 forwards you mentioned, obviously the top line, and then Couture and Barabanov on line 2, I think that's actually a really good, top 5 group of forwards. And so then clearly they've tried Nieto there. Yes, he's gotten a couple goals in that position, and that's good for him. But again, to me, it's unsustainable play. And I think given where the Sharks are at, wanting to look for those sort of smaller doses, those smaller pictures of success and excitement, I would kind of make that top 6 spot more of a rotating spot. Put Gregor there, put Kun in there, Lindblom.
You don't think that's going to piss off Couture?
But again, you know what? If it does piss off Couture, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, it's been said by everybody. People like us whose words mean nothing, and then people who are actually connected to the team, and everybody in between. Like, the Sharks are in transition, and if somebody who's on the right now team doesn't like looking to the future, then they're going to become part of the past.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Let me give you 3 names. I would like you to put them in order.
Okay.
So your second
in order by what?
Of preferred winger. So
on that second line, you mean?
Yes. So
okay.
You have Couture,
mm-hmm.
and you have Barabanov. Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you 3 names that you would. Who are you putting out there in order? Nieto, Dahlin, Balcers.
Who
is Nieto third on that list?
Correct.
And you've just made my point. So let's move on.
I think to answer your question, though, I do think, and maybe this is a cheap answer, but I kind of feel like between Dahlin and Balcers, I think I would flip a coin. Only because with Dahlin, he's obviously very offensively talented. He's got the shot. He's got the speed, all that kind of stuff. That's obviously an asset. With Balcers, he's more of the complete package. He also skates really well. He's more defensively sound. He's got, I think, an underrated shot as well. I think between those two, I think I would flip a coin and be happy with either one.
Either way, we're rating both of them higher than Nieto, which to me highlights the lack of talent.
Again, and the thing is with Nieto, like, I ultimately do think he has a place on this team. It's just not where he is right now.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to the whole deployment issue from, the pre-Colorado era.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on. Some quick hits here for you. If you didn't see it on social media, the Sharks have brought in Tara Slone.
Love this.
As do I. And we're going to get into this for a second. She's going to be hosting some features and a podcast because, that's if you, last time I looked, if you have a heartbeat and you breathe oxygen, you have to have a podcast. And doing whatever else the team wants her to do. I'm kind of wondering if she's going to split any time with Emily Harlan as an in-game host, because maybe Emily might have something else to do. Or it's a way to introduce Tara more to the fan base?
No, I don't think that would be the move. I think she was more of like I almost wonder if she's kind of sort of laying the foundation to be maybe the heir apparent to like a Remenda or
fuck you. She's not going to be a color analyst.
Why not? I'm
not saying she doesn't have the talent. I just don't see that. If anything, I see her being more of like an heir apparent or a partner for Ted Ramey, like doing more stuff on the audio network side of it.
No, and I think that's fine, but she's not really like the in-game, host. Like she's like actually like more of like if anything, she could take over for Brody. Like she's more of like more of the journalist.
Can she take over for Curtis Brown?
I think it's an awesome pickup for the Sharks. Like all the work she's done with Sportsnet, like I pick the hell out of her. I think she's a solid ad.
As do I. And when I say, I don't mean replacing Emily Harlan. I'm just saying like maybe bringing Tara in once or twice, just as more of a way to kind of introduce her a little bit more to the fan base. Because let's be honest, I'm guaranteeing you there's a whole bunch of fans who go to games. They know who Emily is. They don't have a clue who Tara is because they're just not familiar.
And that's fair.
So
and I don't want to disparage Emily because I actually quite like her, but I think
that
doing
makes one of us.
Right, but like
I'm kidding.
But like the in-game sort of host, like that's not like there's so like Tara Slone, like she brings so much more than that.
I was gonna say, like, I'm not trying to say that's beneath her, but it's beneath her.
Right, and like Ian's saying, the talent she has, like you're better off using that elsewhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I hope she does like more features. Maybe she takes over, like you were saying, taking over for Brody, maybe in the context of like when Brody used to do those Sharks Central things, where he'd like be, I don't know, like in a car shopping with Timo Meier or going to get coffee with Brent Burns. Maybe Tara picks up the slack in that regard. I think that would be great. The one thing that I found out that I had no idea about this, and I think this is so fucking awesome, is that evidently Tara used to have a band called Joy Drop.
Okay.
And that band has a song called Beautiful. And I looked it up. Dude, I don't know what year that came out, but when I looked, I looked up the band Joy Drop, and the first thing was Beautiful. And I'm like, why does this song why does the title sound familiar? That I played it? I'm like, holy shit, dude, I used to play the crap out of this. Dude, I loved that song. So it's just kind of cool that I never put the two together, never knew that until she put out the kind of resume, bio, whatever that she shared with Sharks fans. I encourage you to check out the song. I really like it. It's kind of a industrial Paramore kind of a sound. I don't know. The other thing that should be noted, I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm just noting fact. There was a dust up between Couture and Slone back in 2020 during COVID, and there's a whole incident, with Couture that he tweeted about where he got sucker punched in Toronto. I'm not going to get into the specifics. That's what Google exists for. I'm just saying there is a little bit of a history there. So if you want to learn more about it, you can. But as far as I know, it's all been tied up into a nice, tidy little bow. There you go. The Sharks, if you don't know, if you want to get some tickets, they've announced no fees for ticket purchases through December 2nd. So if you hate Ticketmaster as much as I do, now's the time to get some tickets. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm being a realist. Might be a good time to look at buying tickets for future games when the team is lost 5 of their last 6. Maybe a good time. Also, from what I understand, same deal with the Barracuda. And I mean, you want to talk about cheap tickets for a great product,
right? Get
some Barracuda tickets. So either way, the promotion does not apply evidently to verified resellers. So basically season ticket holders that are reselling games. So choose the blue circles, not the pink circles. If you want to get the no fees is what I'm going for when you're on Ticketmaster. Huh?
I said, there you have it.
Yeah. Jersey curse. So this came up. I was talking to Brody on Friday night, and we were talking about the reverse retro jersey, and he was talking about how much fans hated the black jerseys because, they always lose in that. And it made me go back in time, and I go, you know what? Let's take a look at that. So real quickly, I just want to point out a couple things. Reverse Retro 2.0, the Sharks are 0-1 against the Kings last Friday. Sounds right?
Yep.
Reverse Retro 1.0, the Sharks winless, 0-3-1. The first time they ever wore it was against Vegas in a 5-4 loss back in March of 21. Their 30th Heritage jersey, they lost their first game in that one to the Blues, and they were 3-6-0. The Stealth jersey, a jersey that everybody shit on. Oh, we suck in the black jerseys. Actually, the first game they ever played in Stealth was actually a 5-1 victory to Buffalo, and they were 6-6. They were 500 in that jersey.
Mm-hmm.
The 25th Heritage, first time they ever wore it, was a loss to Columbus. They were 0-3-2. And then another one that a lot of people dump on is Black Armor. And if you go back to the first year that they wore Black Armor, they had a great record in the 10-2-2. And their first time wearing it, 7-2, it was a 7-2 win versus Washington. So for as much as people dump on that, it's either way. I just kind of find it funny. But then you throw in the Stadium Series jersey. They never won a game in those. 3 games. Never won once. And then Vegas last night. The first time they wear their reverse retro 2.0s, and they got fucking smoked. 5-1. Should have been a shutout. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because it's like I see that from time to time. Oh, we suck in this jersey. We suck. Well, if you actually go and look at the numbers, they actually weren't that bad.
I just think with the whole jersey curse thing, like here's the thing. I don't believe in Santa Claus, which means I also don't believe in the way you play and the way luck works out is determined by what color your jersey is.
Hey, make your own luck, baby.
Well, but not only that, but like here's the other thing. How many games? I mean, right here, okay. A good example here. The Black Armor jersey, the first season they wore the Black Armor jersey, they wore it 14 times.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did they wear the white jersey?
I don't know.
41.
Okay, then.
My point is,
you're right.
If you have a losing record in a specialty jersey, that's not really that profound of a statement because you wear it the least amount of time.
Well, not only that, dude. Last I looked, the Sharks rolled out brand new jerseys this season. They have a losing record. Fucking burn them.
No, yeah, but that's
the evolved jerseys. Burn them.
But that's what I'm saying. You could be like if you're 0-2, like right here, 0-3 in the Stadium Series jersey, and everybody cries about it. But
that's what I'm saying.
But you could be, the Sharks right now are, at home they're 2-8-4 in their new teal jerseys, and nobody's saying shit.
No, it's so funny. No, you get me, jerk. You get me. Are we surprised that nothing's happened as we move on to the NHL at large? And we're going to get to the giveaways here in a second. Are you surprised that nothing happened in Edmonton? Because I'm sorry, like barely over 500. And dude, you can't fire Woodcroft. They hired him mid-season last year, for Christ's sakes. And yeah, okay, they lost to Vander Kane a couple weeks ago. But dude, you have arguably, if you don't have the 2 best players in the NHL, you have 2 of the best 3.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you're at right now?
I mean, I just think
like going into, you're like, okay, so here's our strategy. We're really going to hope that Seattle sucks again.
Well, and kind of like how, we had talked about last week, they're not, specifically Fogle, Puljujarvi, and Yamamoto, they're not getting enough from those 3 players. I mean, that's kind of like, that's, again, to your point, they have 2 of, I would say 2 of the best of the 4 best players in the league. And, obviously they can drag the team well on their own. But again, you're 3 forwards that you need contributions from, and they're not getting it. We also, when we did, kind of the Edmonton Oilers preview over the summer, one of the things that we talked about was the team is really good at forward, but how is that defense going to fare? And defensively, the team has not been very good.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they're obviously, Cody Ceci and Darnell Nurse, they're looking good. That also happens to be their top pair. So, but they're not getting, a whole lot of positive things from, Barry and Kulak, obviously, in terms of Barry, very, decent stats, but again, minus players, and same thing, Ryan Murray and Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard is another big one too. Like, he had a crazy epic year for them last year, and he's not even close to sniffing that this year. I mean, that doesn't help. And then obviously the goaltending is the big one.
Are you surprised that either Gibson or Stolarz or both haven't said, get me the fuck out of Anaheim?
I was kind of thinking, and we had even talked about this a lot last year, before the Oilers had signed Jack Campbell, I was, we were all kind of like, hey, maybe there's a situation where John Gibson ends up in Edmonton.
Would have been nice. did not I had Anaheim pretty low, like probably in the bottom 5. I really didn't have them in the basement this earlier, or maybe it's just the fact that I didn't think, Chicago and Arizona were going to do as well as they have, or I didn't think Columbus was going to suck as much as they have. But I certainly didn't have Anaheim at the very bottom of my card at this point.
You're the only one.
Really? See?
Yeah.
I felt like Arizona or Montreal or Ottawa, like there could have been or Chicago. I mean, Chicago seems engineered to fail, but they're doing better. Although, I mean, they do only have one win in their last 10, but still. So here's something, and stick taps to Ian for showing this. Evidently, there was a game between Colorado and Dallas last night. And there was a play. Somebody needs to explain this to me because I don't get it.
The play was killed due to an injury. There's no injury, no penalty.
Oh, boy. Manson got high sticked. Should be 4-on-4. But
hey, Coach is smiling. Do you see that? We're smiling up here too, folks. I've never heard this in my entire life in the NHL. There's no injury, so there's no penalty.
Are you kidding? I mean, you look at that in the replay. Marchment clearly catches Manson in the grill. Oh, but Manson, there was no injury, so there's no penalty. This is what we're going to this is how we're doing the NHL now?
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
that's a really stupid move. And you know what it actually made me think about?
To me, it's not a stupid move. It's just like, if you ever wanted a sign, like from an official to go, we're idiots and don't belong here. I mean, this was it.
Right. No, you know what? It reminds me of back in 2016, one of the Sharks games against Nashville. Paul Martin, it was the triple overtime game. Paul Martin got high sticked, but because the stick and he was bleeding
because the stick was made of wood and not carbon fiber. No call.
No, Paul Martin got high sticked and he was bleeding, but it was only a 2-minute penalty because the stick opened an existing cut.
Oh my God. Thus proving he got hit in the face.
Right, but again, but I'm saying, okay, it's an existing cut that was still hit hard enough to reopen.
Yeah.
So again, that's immediately what I thought of when I saw this, and to me, it's just a weak call, and it kind of goes back to a soapbox that I've carried around quite a bit the last few years, where like the referees and the linesmen, and I don't want to disparage them. One of my best friends went through the training program, so I sympathize, but the referees and the linesmen, they are giving miles of leash and miles of leniency and all of that stuff. And if a player has a freaking beard hair out of line, pick up the biggest book you can find and throw it at them.
Oh, dude.
And again, to me, this is another example. Do you think the NHL is going to come out and say, "Hey, you know what? Our officials made a costly error and it affected this game, and we're going to be better next time"? Hell no.
They did it for Vegas.
Yeah, okay, but again, whatever.
Am I wrong?
You get my point.
Absolutely. Oh man. So I mean, let's go from one comically bad error to another.
Ooh, Barracuda.
So, the Barracuda, which I do want to point out before we get into the Cuda cuddle here, we will have Ian Reed on next week following Sharks Sabres to go a little bit more in depth in what has happened with the Barracuda so far this season. Right now, the Cuda have played 3 games this week to wrap up a 5-game roadie. Tristan Robbins got one versus the Ontario Reign, which is great. until I tell you that goal came after the Reign had scored 5 straight. Not McAniemi's best night. But I'm wondering, how is Quentin Byfield not up with the Kings? Maybe it's because the Kings are actually doing okay and don't need the help? Could be. Against the Henderson Silver Knights on Black Friday, the Cuda won 5-2, scoring 3 straight in the third and a 3-point night for Agazzino. In a game that Straussman started, but McAniemi, he finished it after the first intermission. Evidently, Straussman coming down with a little bit of the turkey flu, maybe? We're not sure. Finally, the Cuda finished their week last night against Bakersfield, beating the Condors 2-1 on goals from Gushkin and Cease, whose game winner came with 2 minutes left in the game. Help me with the pronunciation, Drake. Is it Nijev?
Kinyajev.
And then what's the other guy who's on IR right now?
Knizhov
and Kinyajev?
Kinyajev.
I'm never going to get this. All right. You're going to have to write it phonetically in the notes for me. So, Kinyajev assisted on both Cuda goals. Newest Barracuda player, Jalen. Go ahead. Smerik?
I believe that it's Smerik. I don't want to get it wrong, but I believe that it is Smerik.
All right. Newest Cuda player, Jalen Smerik. Also, where's Lacey when you need him? Also assisted on the game winner. If you don't know, Jalen Smerik was signed to a PTO so far this year at 25 years old, has appeared in 12 games with the ECHL's Cincinnati Cyclones, notching 2 goals, 10 assists, 16 penalty minutes with a plus 15 rating. So he's making shit happen. The Cuda are going to start a 6-game homestand this week. They're going to play back-to-backs against Iowa this Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a pair this weekend hosting the Roadrunners. Cool thing is that I believe that game, the second game against the Roadrunners, starts a couple hours or at least 1 hour before Sharks Sabres next week. So that's going to be a perfect time to get Ian on and give a fresh perspective. Right now, the Barracuda are 10-7-1. Currently listed 5th in the Pacific Division. That said, 6 of 10 teams were in action today. So coming in this morning when I woke up, they were 4th, but have since dropped to 5th. I want to do a little prospect focus of the week right now. Ethan Cardwell with the OHL's Barracudas. The dude has 11 goals, 15 assists. Dude, 26 points in 15 games, averaging 1.73 points per game. We were talking about trying to get some offense to the Sharks. Hey, now.
There you go.
That's all I'm saying.
And again, to your point, like, you know, we've talked about pretty much all year how stacked up the Barracuda are. He's a guy who should be on the Barracuda, next year. Obviously things can happen, but if everything goes according to plan, he's going to be on the Barracuda next year. So that's going to be another piece to add to the recipe, right? Of just really, to your point, really stout offensive ability. And it's going to be exciting. Again, we don't know how long the Sharks are going to be bad for, but at the very least, the farm team, they're going to give you something to be excited about. And right. I think it's really awesome.
Ian, keeping me honest, it's not Barry Colts, it's Barry. I'm an idiot. It's dude, I don't know those teams. I'm still learning here, man. Still learning. Should also make note, December 3rd. When the hell is that? Next Saturday night, Teddy Bear Toss. That is usually a big game. Who? Ian. Who? Oh, I believe it was Bakersfield, right? Had their Teddy Bear Toss. Holy cannoli. There are literally 3 games AHL teams will sell out. Their home opener, their fan appreciation night, and their Teddy Bear Toss. So I urge you, get tickets for next Saturday, December 3rd. Cuda versus the Roadrunners, Teddy Bear Toss, and always keep an eye out for that one guy who bought the $100, 8-foot-tall teddy bear that takes 3 people to get over the glass. It's always fun to watch.
I was going to say, I've been to a couple of the Barracuda Teddy Bear Toss games. They're so much fun.
Oh, dude, they're a blast. And dude, people throw those teddies out there with a little anger. There's some purpose in those throws.
And Ian saying 20-minute delay to clean them up. We can do better.
Well, dude, you see those I don't even know what those things are called. Those long, not spike strips. Those long, things on string to collect all the chuckapucks.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
just roll 3 of those from one end to the other after everybody's gotten the teddies out of their system. You'll be fine. So let's move on to our, we have to, Steven, get my vocal ready. Tweet of the week. Holy shit, that's annoying. I probably never do that again. So the Nashville Predators, they got jokes, y'all. They got hella jokes. They tweeted out, it's that time of the year again. We got you. Call this phone number to get the in-laws package. Want to know what the in-laws package is? It's 2 upper bowl tickets and 2 lower bowl tickets. So it's you and your betrothed can sit in the lower bowl on one side of the arena, and they're going to put mom and dad and the upper deck on the other side of the arena. Dude, this is so fucking hysterical. It's so inventive. It's so great. I love this. Like, Nashville needs to get like some sort of an award for this. Such a great idea, and it had me dying. My in-laws, I love my in-laws. I think they're great, but I totally get the joke. So I was just like, oh my God, this is so hysterical. And I'm sure that there was somebody out there that like got all butthurt. Oh, that's not funny. Fuck you. It is funny. Deal with it. Get a sense of humor, pal. I love that. Stick taps to you in Nashville. That was great. All right, let's give away some shit. We have a winner. I know it took
Give it away now.
I know it took a little longer for the first lunch box, but thankfully it only took us 1 week to give away the 49er Sharks jersey. You can hear it. You hear that plastic? It's all still wrapped, never been opened. Sharks jersey in my hot little hand, and here is Hockey Jerk to announce the. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, we gotta do it again. We have a winner. Fuck, that is so annoying.
It's that you sound like the PA at like maybe a racetrack, a horse racetrack or something.
Here comes Slap. No, go ahead.
Alrighty, so let me give a little. I'll give a little color here. So we had 26 entries, which
that's it.
See, and again, like,
come on, there's literally 50 people watching right now. You all don't want to win a shark. You don't want to win a jersey. Okay, that's fine. You know what? I got you. We have another lunchbox that we're also going to give the details away tonight, and there are things in here. I'm just saying.
Shit.
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Alrighty. So we had 26 people enter the contest, and
what's the details to fill everybody in?
The details are, across the 4 games from this week: Ottawa, Seattle, Los Angeles, Vancouver. Across those 4 games, what will Erik Karlsson's combined ice time be in those 4 games? We had 26 people throw their hat in the ring, and only two people provided a guess that was over 100 minutes.
Where did he finish, by the way?
So I'll get there.
Oh, okay.
So only two people provided a guess that was over 100 minutes, and I'm sorry to say both of those people did not win. But
did they go over?
They did go over. But when I saw that, I was thinking, man, 100 minutes, that feels kind of rich. And sure enough, Erik Karlsson.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but let's also fill in there that we didn't know that Mario Ferraro was going to be injured a week ago.
Also true, which actually, if you can believe it, Ferraro's injury did not affect his average ice time per game compared to the previous weeks. Okay. So Erik Karlsson, across these 4 games, played 100 minutes and 21 seconds.
Hey, now.
And so our winner...
What was the... Hold on. Before you say the name of the person, what was the guess that was closest without going over?
So the person who won, they guessed 98 minutes and 50 seconds, which is
fucking close.
1 minute and 31 seconds below the actual time. And this person...
91 seconds.
Yeah.
Or about 10 seconds longer than I last in bed. Okay.
Yeah, they were 91 seconds off. And again, this was a real squeaker And again, we only have one prize to give out, but the person who came in second place was 3 seconds behind the winner.
Oh, damn. Okay, you probably don't want to announce who that person is because they're going to be pissed.
No, I will not. But so our big winner, and they've already been notified. They sent me their address, so we're going to send it. We're going to send it out as soon as I let AJ know this person's address.
Awesome.
They live on 1, 2, 3. No, I'm just kidding. The winner is, and if I get this incorrect, I apologize. Please correct me.
If you say Berg, I swear to God.
No, I was gonna laugh. If it was Berge again. Sean Rashkes. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Sean Rashkes.
We don't have a user ID like Twitter or YouTube.
Well, let me double check. They sent me an email. So let's see. And
Berge, just want to let you know if you're listening either live or I've seen you in the chat earlier. Just letting you know your lunchbox will go out this week.
There you go.
You know, the holidays kind of fucked everything up, but it's going out this week.
So Sean Rashkes is our big winner. And again, they entered in the lunchbox competition, so they keep coming back. And,
nice.
You know, and again, you know, big winner now. We'll see if they come back again. Hopefully. I mean, that would be awesome. But no Twitter. You know, they sent me an email. They may have a Twitter.
And that's
fine. They did not reach out. They didn't reach out to me through Twitter, but they may have a Twitter.
And you know what? You're not required to join us. You're not. See, that's the thing. There's a lot of other, and I'm not calling out other Sharks podcasts. I'm calling out all podcasts in general when it comes to stuff like this, where it's like, you have to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter, and you've got to, you know, rub our fannies on Facebook, and you got to do this on here. But no, there's no stipulations. The whole thing is, if you listen to us, you're going to learn the details. If you listen to us, you might subscribe, you might not. Doesn't matter. We're just here to offer some things because we appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us. So, but we're not requiring you to, where it's not like, send us a proof that you follow us on Instagram and Reddit and this and that. No. We're just here. So, love it. So this person, they might be in the chat right now. They might not be. They might listen to this on Spotify or Apple or who, we don't know. But the fact of the matter is,
Sean's the big winner.
They followed the rules of the contest. They won. So
no purchase necessary, no subscribing necessary,
exactly.
No following necessary.
Yeah. I'm not you know, like shitting on other ones who do that. I'm just saying here, we don't do that. We don't have a network carrying our water. We try to do this all organically for the fans, by the fans. That's our mantra. So Sean, can't congratulate you enough. This will go out this week. And I got a new one for you. We have...
So what is this? So Lunchbox 2.0?
Lunchbox 2.0, everybody. And
or is it, or would it be 3.0 since the first one went to a runoff?
No, it's still 2.0.
Okay. All right.
So 2.0. Would you all like to see what's inside? Let's take a look.
Yeah, give us the...
Let's take a look. It might not be as full as the first one because, you know, it's a little different, but first, oh, look at that. Oh, what's this?
Oh.
This right here, it's a puck, a San Jose Sharks puck signed by Barclay Goodrow, because who doesn't like a good Game 7 wank?
There you go.
So, and, oh, what's this in here? This is actually a...
Is that a towel to wipe off with after?
No, it's a jersey to wipe off with after.
Okay.
But that is a fan appreciation jersey from last season, the very last jersey they gave out. What is it? The teal together fan designed jersey, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, but also subs as a wiping towel after you've had a good wank from looking at the Barclay Goodrow puck.
And just for clarification, it comes with the lunchbox as well.
It does, because where else do you put your wank towel in the lunchbox?
Okay.
I should say, too, that, dude, I don't know if you listened or if you heard it on the broadcast tonight during the Vancouver game, but there was a mention of somebody's lunch being stolen, and I'm like, God damn, Jerk is just getting plagiarized all over the place. So anyway, here are the details to win this one. You know the details when it comes to the email, right? hockeyjerk10@gmail.com. That's right, hockeyjerk, all one word, 10, @gmail.com. Email your answer to this, and we're going to announce the winner next Sunday following Sharks Sabres, provided we have a winner. Hopefully, we don't have to roll this over to a second week. So this week begins a 4-game road trip versus Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and the aforementioned Buffalo Sabres. Closest without going over, email to hockeyjerk10@gmail.com the total amount of shots on goal the Sharks tally in these 4 games. This past week, over 4 games played, the Sharks posted, and this is just me trying to help you out, okay? And this is also me having to do some quick math on the fly because I didn't add this up earlier. But this week, between games versus Ottawa, Seattle, LA, and tonight versus Vancouver, over those 4 games, if you add them all up, the Sharks shot 123 shots on goal. Mm-hmm. How many shots on goal total will the Sharks have against Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and Buffalo combined? Email that answer to hockeyjerk10@gmail.com, and you could win yourself your own retro lunchbox coming with fan appreciation jersey. Barkley Goodrow puck. Might even throw something else in there before I send it off, because I'm that cool. I'm that nice. I'm that kind of guy. That's how you can win it.
Email me, and if email's not your thing, you don't want to dox yourself. I understand that. You can DM me. You can DM me on Twitter too. That's fine.
At hockey_jerk.
Yeah, I believe Burge actually, who was Lunchbox 1.0 winner, Burge actually DM'd me on Twitter. So we now have a Twitter DMer that won and an emailer that won. So it's really kind of up in the air what the better
crap
is.
Do we need to open up Instagram?
I already got the first email in.
Hey now. Don't say their guess, but is that person a regular watcher?
They're a regular watcher.
Beauty.
They are a regular watcher. They have entered the previous 2 content. Actually, I apologize. They did not enter Lunchbox 1.0, which I guess is why they're entering now.
All right.
But they were in the 49ers jersey giveaway. They did not win, obviously. And they're currently in the chat right now.
Let me ask you this.
Ask it.
Say, for shits and giggles, because I feel bad.
Okay.
Let's say that our buddy Burge comes in, wins 2.0.
Okay.
Should that be allowed, or should we put some sort of like embargo, like, you can only like win like once every like 2 months? Like we have to go to the next person, or we sit there and go, hey, you know what? You legit won, you get another.
I would say,
because on one hand you want to share with, you want as many people available to get stuff, but on the other hand it's just kind of like, hey, I nailed it, run me my goodies.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I understand, like, I get both sides of it, right? I understand, like,
I think what we need to say right now, before we just like go off the list, Burge, maybe don't enter this time.
Or enter.
Or enter.
Or
whatever.
what if, I don't know. I mean, do we just...
But you know what I mean?
I would say, well, I think we have to clearly define it. Like, maybe, you can only win, maybe one every 3, or no, because then what if we give away a puck this week and then it's a t-shirt the next week? You're gonna be like, what the fuck? If I had known it was gonna be the shirt, I wouldn't have entered the puck.
Oh, yeah. See, maybe we need to crowdsource this shit. Well, you know what? Look on Twitter for the poll.
No, I got it. I think, if it was not, if the giveaway was anything but a lunchbox, I think it's fine.
Oh, but if it's the same item,
but it's the same thing, I kind of think it's like, well, you already won the first one.
Yeah.
That said, Burge, if you want to enter, more power to you.
Yeah, rock out with your cock out. Let's go.
And maybe there'll be a situation, maybe they can, if Burge wins again, maybe they can pick someone else.
There you go. All right, let's move on. Hey, I'm seeing it right now. We got 30 thumbs up. We've got 47 live viewers right now. Come on, let's up those thumbs. Come on. Who are the 17 that are holding out on us? Come on, we're giving away stuff here, for Christ's sake. Now it's 48. Come on.
Third week in a row we've done a giveaway, and we have no intention of stopping.
Yeah, dude, we're going to be giving away stuff every Sunday through Christmas. Hell, we might go through Martin Luther King Day. Hell, we might go, if we're feeling froggy enough, we may go through Valentine's. If we're really feeling froggy and Jerk really like bears down to clean out his shit, we're going to do this till the end of the season, my friends. So we may never not do this again. Yeah, we may never stop giving away stuff, I think is what we're talking about. So throw those thumbs up in there. Make sure to subscribe. Dude, that's all we ask. You know, we're going to give you some free stuff. So yeah, thumbs up. Tell your friends about us, please. Make sure to hit the subscription button. If you're on iTunes, please give us the big review and the 5 stars. We really appreciate that. Helps the algorithm, helps promote this. We're giving away free stuff. It's only going to get better. And okay, I didn't want to say this, but I'm just going to put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight's show is number 978. Now, not for Pucknologists. Overall, since we have started the Pucknologists, since we've, Teal Town, USA, this whole kit and caboodle, this is our 978th podcast between Pucknologists, Teal Tinted, After Dark. Right now, our 1000th podcast is due to hit sometime about mid-January. We're going to work it out. I'm talking about giving away free stuff. I'm thinking, if I'm feeling froggy enough for the 1000th podcast, I may have to give away one of my custom jerseys.
Wow.
You know what these are worth.
Yeah.
This is not a lunchbox. This is legit. This is not Fanatics. This is not the made in Indo. This is made in Canada, legit pro stock, what the players wear.
Custom designed by you.
Thank you. I'm thinking this might need to happen for the 1000th episode. So, like I said, stay with us. Subscribe on YouTube. Tell a friend. Open up 20 Google accounts and subscribe with them. Tell a friend to subscribe on iTunes. Give us the 5 stars and the great review on iTunes. I certainly appreciate it. We thank you so much for hanging with us. But I want to do something really special for our 1000th cast. So look forward to that. If I have to go full on and say, I'm going to go so far as to like give you the custom patch, the custom shoulder patches and all that, but maybe go so far as to say you pick the name and number.
Wow.
Like it's not going to be pre-done. Like if you want Bozosaurus on the back and the number 666, sure, why not? So anyway, that's where we're at. So again, thank you so much for joining us. I hope all of you guys had like an awesome Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, I did not. I will get into that on Discord here in a few minutes when we jump over to that after the show. Didn't work out. Not so much for me. It was more my wife, Sherry. Didn't work out so well for her. But anyway, the Sharks are going to start a 4-game road trip this week. Games against Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and Buffalo. The games against the Sabres, again, next Sunday, which means your favorite in Jerks, another goddamn Pucknologist takeover of After Dark. So instead of being on at our normal 7 p.m. start, we're going to be on immediately at the conclusion of the Sharks-Sabres game. So probably a little bit more like 6:40, 45-ish, unless like tonight where it goes to OT. So give or take a few minutes. But in the interim, there's going to be those 3 games that I told you about. So remember to check out Gamecasts, following each one with either Puck Guy, Ian, Landy, Dana, Mark, or a, conglomeration of them all. So you can follow him at hockey_jerk. You can follow me at AJ_strong, all of that on the Twitter machine. Remember to leave your take in the comment section of this YouTube video below if you were not able to watch us live. And if you're on the audio only replay, hey, throw us some comments that way. If you got something to say, you can always hit us up at Twitter, probably on Twitter, at Pucknologists, at Tealtown USA. Either way, it's all good. So, Jerkman, any words to say about Thanksgiving or just, famous last words in general?
Thanksgiving was fun.
All right, then. So,
ate plenty of good food. And that was really it. As I mentioned at the top 2.5 hours ago, AJ and I executed a trading of some swag, which was obviously fun. I
believe the transaction started with "Psst, buddy."
Yeah, no, literally. I had some things I didn't want that AJ wanted. AJ had some things that he didn't want that I wanted, and we just did a little swap. I had a couple, and I had 2 other friends hit me up and be like, "Hey,
you do not have 2 other friends." Stop.
Here's the thing. People know, I may have been gone for 3 years, but you know what? I got friends who know I like things, and they keep an ear to the ground for me.
Nice.
So I was able to. I'm staring at a big batch of shit on my desk right now that I'm gonna have to take care of and figure out where it all goes.
I believe
but
that's
also,
the official booth. Hey, have you checked out the brand new San Jose Sharks batch of shit? That came out wrong. Batch of shit. Go ahead.
And one of the things that was not mentioned with respect to the trade that AJ and I made. So for those who have been to a game at the Tank once, that the cell service there is not the best. And so during a stoppage in play during the third period, I pull my phone out of my pocket and I see I have a bunch of texts from AJ. It's
why the fuck is he bothering me?
It's literally, where are you? What are you doing? Where are you sitting? And I'm like, and my first thought is like, okay, something's wrong. What's going on? And so I'm like, hey,
is AJ having a stroke?
Right. So I'm like, this is where I'm sitting. I give AJ where I'm sitting, and I'm kind of looking around. I'm like,
what? To be fair, I'm like, where you're sitting, and all you did was give me the section. I'm like, dude, can you be a little more specific?
Right. And so I'm kind of looking around, and I'm like, well, there's no open seats near me, so I don't know what's going to happen here. And so I tell AJ, and sure enough, next stoppage, I see AJ with his drawstring bag bouncing up the stairs, and he's about 3 rows down. And keep in mind, the section I'm in, it's full.
It was about halfway up.
Yeah, so I was in row 13. I think AJ stopped around row 8 or 9, and he makes eye contact with me, and I see he has a mystery puck in his hand. They sold alumni mystery pucks at the game on Friday, and probably subsequent games. And I just see him. He's like ready to lob it towards me, and I'm like, okay, I need to focus.
Because I'm like, stand up, fucker.
Right, because if this puck bonks someone,
dude, and don't think it almost. Yeah, the person in front of you was close.
It was a bit critical.
You had to reach over.
But I'm like, man, I need to really focus here, because if someone takes this off the grape, it's going to be bad time.
Yeah.
Right. And so I grab it, and I didn't even look at it before AJ was like going down the stairs the other way. And I'm like, okay, it was kind of weird, but whatever. I open the foil and I look at the puck, and it's the side that's facing me is the side with the sticker, not the autograph side, the sticker side. Rudolph's Balsers.
We do not slander that name in this house.
AJ knows I'm a big fan of Rudolph's Balsers, so to have that come fly my way was very awesome. Appreciate it. And I was literally like, man, like, somebody got a good fucking alumni mystery puck.
Hey, now.
Because a buddy of mine, he bought 2, and he got hosed on both of them.
No, let me guess. He got like what? Devin Dubnyk and did I get one of them?
No, you did not. But one of them was Dylan Gambrell. I'll
tell me the other one was Bodker.
No, it was like a minor Barracuda player from years gone. But yeah, he got hosed, and so I'm like, man, to get a Balsers, that's a good deal. And like I said, I haven't lived there for 3 years, but I got people who keep their ear to the ground for me.
All right, dude, we have 90 seconds until we hit 2.5 hours.
90 seconds. So I've had 6 people send me their pics.
That literally. Okay, go ahead.
All 6 have been recorded. So if you're listening and you've already sent me your pic, you're in. Don't worry about it.
All right. It's been so long, I'm not even going to get into my last words. So there you go. Remember, in case you missed it, you want to check us out again, we're on all the platforms. And if we're not on your favorite, by all means, let us know. Let us get there, whether it's TuneIn, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Apple, it doesn't even matter. If we're on or if we're not on your favorite, let us know so we can get there. Wow, that came out kind of not the way that I was hoping for. Makes me want to go up to a friend of mine. Hey, if we're not on your favorite girlfriend, let me know so I can get there. Things you say when you're in your late teens. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on social media. If you listen to the podcast, I just said all this shit. Why is this here? Find everything on tealtownusa.com. Christ almighty, thank you so much for hanging out for 2.5 hours. But hey, we give away stuff. So we're going to do our best to keep it to a tight 90 minutes next week.
The tight 45 is dead.
Yeah. Oh, dude, taken out in the back, shot against a barn. Long time ago. In fact, you even look, dude, we haven't had a comment in like 12 minutes. Everybody's asleep. So we thank you so much for watching and joining. Remember, more giveaways are just going to keep coming. Tell your friends. Make sure to subscribe on all our platforms, but particularly give us that cool review and 5 stars on iTunes and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We certainly appreciate it. And more giveaways. I think, you know what? After this Lunchbox 2.0, I'm thinking what might happen after that, the La Bank Piggy Bank might be next. I'm feeling
Could
good.
be.
And, hey, and you know what? You know what a La Bank Piggy Bank holds, right?
Things.
I'm just saying. Might be $1 or $2 in there. So we thank you so much for watching and listening and hanging out with us. Remember, our next show is going to be, when is that? Following Montreal this Tuesday. But we're going to be back here for another takeover next Sunday following Buffalo Sabres. Sorry to take up so much of your time this weekend, but we had a good time. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. We will catch you all Tuesday night following the Montreal game. Good night, everybody. See you on Discord.